Cheers, Nate.
Miss Fabiola Wong. Hashtag at Hotline Fab.
I was going to say, how dare you forget me? Not. Yes, at Hotline Fab.
What do you want to know about 50 Shades of Grey?
I want to know what you thought about it.
I thought it was really good.
Really? I've never read it.
You never read it?
No, that's why I'm curious.
Oh, yeah. I think you should read it, especially the type of like...
Sorry, that is so good.
I'm glad you like it.
That old-fashioned.
Inspirit Bitters, guys, go check it out. Go make your old fashions at home.
Yeah, oh, yeah. We use it all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I have some at mine, and we have some at Chaz's.
You said, Chaz says you make really good whiskey sours with the hibiscus.
I do, yeah. I mean, I make whiskey sours, and I also use your pineapple jalapeno one.
Habanero, yeah.
Or habanero one in gin and tonics.
Oh, gin and tonics.
Yeah.
I've actually never used it in gin and tonic.
Mostly, yeah, I mean,
you like it?
fuck it. But I use the tonic from Trader Joe's, and they have like strawberry and like lemon something kind of tonics.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I go check that out.
Yeah, or maybe they're just soda.
That sounds like a mule. So a lot of people like spicy like mules now. I don't know. People like spicy everything now.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not hating. I think it's bomb. But anyway, Inspirit Bitters, delicious.
Go check it out. Go check out at Hotline Fab too.
Yes, thank you. But 50 Shades of Grey, I heard it's like soft porn.
Soft porn? I would agree. Yeah, it definitely is. Like, I guess it's the first thing that I've like read that actually paints a picture in your brain with just words of porn. You know, but like, there's like weird things in there that like, I don't know, like dominant stuff. Have you watched the movies?
No.
You haven't watched the movies?
No, I just heard of that. So then I didn't watch it, but maybe I'm avoiding it.
Well, there's like a storyline behind all like the sex stuff. Right, so there's like any story, there's like a good guy and a bad guy, this and that. But the reason why I like reading like all these things are like that are controversial or movies that are controversial is because like you get to like consume it and then you get to decide like what you think is right and wrong, regardless if you think it's right or wrong.
Okay. I think you've inspired me. You know what's funny is I think they say that men, when it comes to like sex, are more visual, which is why they tend to gravitate towards porn. But women are more use their imagination. So it's audio. It's more like I don't know what you call it, but when you're reading, right, you're creating a narrative and a story, and that's what's sexy to women.
The reading part? And,
reading or
audio?
listening, yeah, right? You're conjuring the image in your mind versus with men, when you see it, that's the turn on. There's like different turn-ons.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know if this is a fact, but I really love Esther Perel.
She's dope.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
and
Mating in Captivity, right?
Yes, yeah. She actually started rereading that recently, and I love it again.
It's a good book.
Yeah, she says that for women that sex is about the narrative. It's
Narrative
about
meaning what?
the story behind it, the context, the push and pull, the leading up to it. You know, whereas with men, it's like it can kind of just be the act. Whereas with women, it's everything that comes before and after that's actually sexy. Yeah. So when you do like stories through audio or through like books, for instance, it allows a woman's mind to kind of fill in the blanks with their own imagination, which is really sexy for women. Whereas for men, I think it's a little bit more black and white, maybe.
Wouldn't 50 Shades of Grey be like a narrative then?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think that's why it did so well with women. That's why I'm happy to hear that you like it.
But you said you were so like anti-reading it.
Well, I just heard it was bad. I just don't like bad
in general.
Yeah, like it was a bad.
Well, there's a lot of like critics on it for, I guess, like women out there, because they wanted young girls to develop their own vision and experience of sex when this was such an extreme version of it that like it wasn't necessarily a reality for most people.
Interesting. Like I said, I'm gonna read it now. I'm sold. I forgot about it, but I remember when it came out, it was such a big deal. But then the reviews were terrible.
Yeah, I didn't check the reviews. The only reason why I wanted to read like those movies, I was like, what are books that have a book and then a movie that I could watch back to back? Because I was living alone in my Santa Monica apartment in COVID, and I was just like, okay, this is probably the perfect time that I need to read. So I started with Harry Potter. I read the first Harry Potter, watched the movie, second Harry Potter, watched the movie, and then I did the same thing with 50 Shades of Grey. I read the book, watched the movie, read the book, watched the movie. Same thing with Lord of the Rings, read the book,
Oh my
watched the
God.
movie.
You did the whole... Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I did. But
Thank you.
I don't think that was during
Pandemic? Oh no, but that's when I watched it, I
Okay.
guess. Yeah, because I hadn't watched it. Sorry, it
Did
just
you
made me
like
think
it?
of it. I loved it. I tried getting
Yeah.
Chaz to watch it, and he won't watch it. He
He's
like
never watched Game of Thrones?
he like got bored after like the third episode. I was like, bro,
I don't know why.
pay attention.
I don't know why I liked it because it's such like a fantasy movie too. Like, and it's so. I don't know. Why do you think you liked it?
I like stories that are full of dialogue and like it's like the side drama that's happening and like it's like a medieval telenovela for me.
Yeah.
Like
What's
that's what
a
I like.
telenovela?
Oh, like a Spanish soap opera.
Okay.
Like it's all dramatic and there's so many little side things happening and it's and then it leads to one big blow up, one climax.
And the cinematography is pretty good too.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I know I guess the telenovela, there's like a lot of that in like I guess my Filipino culture growing up. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like my family, the woman on my family would just be like enthralled by all these. I was like, what are you guys watching?
They're like, he slept with her. Oh my god! They're
Except it's with dragons and like cool things over there.
Yeah, it's scandalous.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
super scandalous.
that's what it is. It's scandalous. Yeah.
Going back to your narrative though, with the visualization with like sex and woman filling in the blanks. I have a friend of mine who he's a gay gentleman, but he does audio for like that.
Despia.
What's Despia?
It's a like a sex, like a porn, like an audio porn.
Yeah, so he does that, and he has a very manly voice. But he's a gay guy, so he pretends to be a straight man, and he reads this reads just a script.
Yeah.
And so many people subscribe.
Oh yeah, I used to subscribe.
I didn't know this was a real thing.
It appeals to women.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a real thing. I was like, he was like, yeah, dude, like so many people have listened to my voice while they're just like going to sleep. Like millions of people are listening to this dude's voice. And I was like, how much do you get paid for that, bro? He's like, yeah, it's like $400 or $500 an hour. I was like,
That's
what?
great.
I was like, sign me up, dude.
What kind of character would you play?
I'm joking. I don't think I could do that.
I think you would be just yourself. You'd be the bartender down the street. Some cougar walks in.
Sometimes I get, I feel like I'm getting called out by some of your posts because it usually just says like, I don't know, bartenders are in like a lot of like your. I was like, stop calling me out right now. It's like a typical.
You got like 10 jobs though, so I can feel like I can call you out like 10 different ways.
She was like, how many ways can I call out Nate?
You know what? I call out Chaz though too all the time.
Yeah.
I think I posted one about Carhartt beanies one time.
Yeah, where do you find all these?
Just like scrolling, like I'll go through a rabbit hole, but you also have to recognize my algorithm is strictly like dating and relationship stuff and like cats, so all I have to do is scroll and then pick out the ones that I like, and then I save them to an album, and then when it's time to post, I'll just go through my album and I'll be like, oh haha, that's funny and all.
Because like you post these like the 10 photos usually sometimes.
Oh, a carousel,
and then I'm like, where's she getting these memes from? Like,
yeah. Here's the other trick that I use is sometimes my laptop or my desktop version of Instagram will feed me different stuff than my phone version. So if I'm not finding anything on my phone,
Instagram on your laptop. Who are you?
Old. That's who I am. Old. Yeah, it'll feed me different stuff on my home page. So sometimes I find better memes on my desktop. Yeah.
How did you get into, I guess, like without like jumping into like everything directly, like the hotline fab or the dating coaching world, or what does hotline fab even mean? Like how did you come up with that name?
So I actually didn't come up with that name. One of my friends, he's a DJ, but he was like, I forget why. He just started calling me that one time. He's just like,
catchy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're Hotline Fab. And he's actually come up with quite a few catchy names. Like when I wanted to do more live events, he's like, Fab, you should just call it For the Grown and Sexy. I was like, that's genius. It is for the grown and sexy. People want to work with me because they're grown and sexy.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. But he actually came up with Hotline Fab. And part of that was just because of during the pandemic when I was doing a lot of live streaming on Instagram, it was called The Hotline with the intention of it being like a true hotline, which is a part of my coaching
true hotline
practice.
Of people calling in type of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you work with me as a client, and you work with me for like, you have, let's say you do a 9-week course, 12-week, or you have an ongoing 1 session a month with me. For that entire duration of time, you have access to the hotline, which is you can text me Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, when shit goes down in your dating or love life. Yeah.
Okay. Or is it usually single women?
It's men and
too?
women. It's
Okay.
half and half.
Half and half. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's usually the same thing, like, where do I find people to date, or what do I say to this person, or they ghosted me, or, you know, just the normal stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, whatever it is that you think you are attracting, that's you. Like, there's something about you that is allowing that is attracting that. If you think all men are fuckboys, you got some fuckboy tendencies inside you too. Like, that's what we're gonna address.
So if a woman thinks all men are fuckboys, they have some fuckboy tendencies in them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you call them fuckboy, but like they got some toxic things going on. Yeah, for sure. Like, if you entertain men who are fuckboys, there is some part of you that is attracted to that at the end of the day. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't even allow them to be in your space. You wouldn't even see them. They would literally just go over your head. Yeah. Just the way for some women, it's like really smart guys just go over their heads. Really successful guys just go over their heads. Right? It's like there's something about them, even if it's negative, there's something about them that you are attracted to.
Do you think that's the whole concept of like types? Like, it's because like you're attracted to this person, they're my type because I have these certain characteristics that attract me to them.
I mean, I think attraction's a funny thing because I don't think attraction's always a type. Like, for instance, there's a ton of different types of fuckboys, right? That's more of a
I'm
personality.
What type of fuckboys are there? Categorize them with this. I don't have no clue.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, even a guy who's like super successful or like, you know, works at a software company and is seemingly nerdy, right? Can be a fuckboy. Sure. Or a guy who's a club promoter, right? And is very handsome.
What would your definition be of a fuckboy if you had to define it?
Emotionally unavailable.
Emotionally unavailable.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then the way that comes out could be like, you know, not texting back, only texting when it's convenient, or maybe dating multiple women at once, or not being transparent with their intentions. Yeah. Things like that. Maybe it could be even love bombing, right? Like doing big grand gestures to try to attract women, and then the moment they're hooked, they're like, bye. Yeah. Or like you keep them around, but you're not really invested in it. And I think I made a post, and people weren't really feeling it, but I think I said one time, like, women aren't attracted to assholes. And I would think I was speaking to that kind of fuckboy quality.
Are not attracted to assholes?
They're not. They're not. Because here's the thing. I don't think...
A lot of people say they are, though. You'll hear, like, girls talk about their friends saying, like, oh, yeah, she just loves assholes.
Yeah. Well, I think what it is that I think if people think that the opposite of asshole is nice guy, right? Okay. And nice guy is a pushover, right? The opposite of an asshole, I think, is just good people. It's not necessarily a nice guy, right?
Yeah. So I heard this thing on Instagram, I think a while ago, and this guy who's like super big in the lifting world, he said, it's better don't be a nice guy, be a good man.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And he was like, yo, if you have certain standards for yourself in terms of just like, this is what I believe, or this is how I represent myself, stand up for that. Because nice guys just allow people to say those over you.
Exactly.
Versus being a good man.
Exactly. And so I think when women have the choice between a nice guy and an asshole, she's going to go for an asshole every time.
Why?
Because the asshole has boundaries, has confidence, is not afraid to be an asshole. Yeah. Right. And there's something about that is more attractive than a guy who's a pushover. Right. But there's something in between. And that's where I hopefully more men will want to gravitate towards, which is being nice, but having boundaries with your kindness. Yeah. Right. Like if a woman's going to walk all over you, that's not attractive to anyone. Yeah. But if you're like, hey, I'm a good guy, I'm a nice guy, and I know that that's valuable. I know my worth. I'm not just going to give that to some woman, to any woman. Yeah. Right. She's got to earn that. She's got to be worth it. And I think that becomes attractive to women because she's like, oh, he knows he's good. Therefore, I can't just take advantage of him. And then that becomes attractive.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that just because like this whole nice guy persona is being pushed on with a lot of the world. Like there's not good guys out there. They need to be nice. They can, and like listen to me and obey me and all this stuff. Like there's a very like, I don't know, you talk about the modern woman a lot, right?
I do.
I don't even know what that means, right? Because like there's a lot of women out, especially in LA, who are like, actually there's both sides. There's like the sugar babies of LA, and then there's like the dominant businesswoman of LA.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, that's both modern though. Like, what are you talking about? You know? So like, there's the boss women, right? Who just like, who kind of want to push over, right? They want the nice guy sometimes. You know, they're like, they could do whatever. And then there's the sugar babies, right? Who are just like, I want an asshole to take care of me and buy me dinner and all this stuff.
Okay, so I think maybe there's a misconception.
Yeah. This is what I perceive.
I mean, first of all, you bring up something interesting. I've never actually thought about sugar babies being a modern concept, but you could be right.
I'm at the bar all the time, and bartending the last 2 years, I've seen very successful older men with like very young women.
Yes, okay. But I also want to say to this is that I actually don't think that a lot of those older men are assholes. I think they are pushovers, which is why they get a sugar baby who gets everything that they want.
Okay.
And that maybe not in all situations,
No, that makes
right?
sense.
But I think a man who is confident and has boundaries and asserts himself doesn't have to go with a woman who's younger.
Okay.
I think he can attract women. I mean, I take that back because some men want that. But I think that I think those types of men are lacking something, right? That then younger women are able to gain something from.
Yeah.
But I also, as I say this, I also thought of another thought, which is a lot of times these men, actually, I assert my statement. A lot of times these men do lack something, and that is probably the ability to hold themselves in a equal relationship. So when you date a younger woman, she's not necessarily as mature. She may not have enough set boundaries on her own. She may not be able to ask for the things that she needs or assert herself in those kinds of ways, whether it's monetarily, sexually, emotionally, right? So sometimes a lot of those men can take advantage of those younger women because all that those women want is money. And all of those men want is something easy. And those women do make it easy.
Yeah, it could be easy, but also just like a lot of these guys too, like one girl who I was talking to a while back, who just sat at the bar and she was just talking about the relationship, just bartender talk. She would get paid like monthly just to sit down and have dinner with him like once a week.
That's great.
And just conversation. So he's like, he just wants like a good companion or conversation.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, it's weird. It's weird out here.
I think that's okay.
Yeah. But a lot of successful dudes too. The reason why they're so successful, in my opinion, is because they don't have something that you don't have. It's like you have something they don't have, in terms of they're so insecure that the only way they could feel some sort of like something is to be uber wealthy monetarily, because that's the only way they can prove themselves to the world in some way. I
think, yeah, it's both, right? They lack something, but also you have something they don't have. And I think, thinking of the example of like a man who's super successful, and that's how he's made his wealth through his, business success. He may lack social skills. He may lack the ability to converse with a woman and engage with her and get her solely on his personality, right? But she may also have, as to your point, she may have that fun, free spirit, carefree, don't give a fuck about money or responsibilities in life because I don't have to.
Yeah.
And I think for someone like that kind of guy, that's really attractive because you're like, whoa, how do you see the world that way? I want that. Right? And I think that could be really great in a lot of ways. I don't think that's a bad thing.
What's your definition of, I guess, of a modern woman? Because you talk about it a lot. Yeah.
So when I talk about a modern woman, I talk about, honestly, kind of someone like me. I think I have traditional values, but I think at the end of the day, I'm still a modern woman. And it's like someone who has her own career, has probably put that first for a lot of your life, is independent, both, emotionally, financially, all of those things. And also, what else? What are some characteristics? I think the main ones being independent. Oh, and obviously like prioritizing education over family and kids. I think those are kind of the main things about a modern woman. when I think of modern women, I think of girl boss, you know, all of that. And as we know that's kind of toxic, but I think that myself included, there's a lot of women who were raised to not depend on men, to not rely on them, to get an education, to get a job, to do well for yourself because men are unreliable. Now, I know that that's trauma being passed down, you know, that's not necessarily the case of a lot of relationships, but when women grow up with that sort of mentality that in order to be equal to men, you have to compete with them. You take away, you don't have, how do I want to say this? The things that aren't nurtured in yourself are not, they're the same things for men. Like you're nurturing your assertiveness, you're nurturing your independence, you're nurturing your lack of ability to rely on other people. And I think that when it comes to relationships, that's harmful because both men and women do need to rely on each other to have healthy relationships, right? But if, for instance, both people in a relationship are working and working hard and they both prioritize their career over everything, what's left for the relationship, right? You're not nurturing each other in different ways. You're nurturing each other in the same ways. So let's say, Nate, you and I are in a relationship and you get home from work and you're tired and I just got home from work and I'm tired and you're like, damn, I'm hungry. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And I'm thinking, I don't want to cook dinner. And you're like, I don't want to cook dinner. And
so
it's
you just
like,
order food, no?
So you just order food, right? You can just order food. You can just order food. Totally, right?
What's your point?
But I'm sitting there thinking like, damn, it'd be so nice if my man just had dinner ready for me.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right? Or you might
Vice
be
versa.
thinking, yeah, right? Or I just got home from work and damn, my feet hurt. And you're like, well, I just got done with the workout and my back hurts. And I'm like, well, I wish my feet could be rubbed. And you're like, well, I wish my back could be rubbed, right? But you don't have that left to give each other.
Sure.
I mean, these are very kind of elementary examples.
No,
but
I don't think they are. I had a personal training client who would tell me about his like marriage, and he was a lot older. So he was like 65, 70, and the biggest reason that him and his wife fought all the time is because she wouldn't scratch his back.
Okay, I'm laughing, but yeah, that's real.
No, and they've been going to therapy for I think 30 years, and it's because she won't scratch his back.
Okay, and the question is, why won't she scratch his back?
She does when he asks, but he just he doesn't want to have to ask.
Exactly. Does she enjoy taking care of her man?
I don't know.
Okay, see, and
that's all I know from the extent of that story. But that's a real thing.
It is a real thing,
and this is a older gentleman, right?
Yeah.
This isn't an elementary school thing that you just said it as. These are concepts that are in relationships that can last a very long time, or if forever, you know.
I mean, okay, I use that example because I think that there's joy in taking care of the other person that you get out of being in a relationship. So, for instance, if we're both working, we're both paying half, we're both contributing equally, right? I may only want to do half as much as half the amount, half the effort, because I know that you only put half the effort. So if I see you're doing a little bit less, I'm only going to do a little bit less, right? There's no pure joy. If I'm working, you're working, you're like, baby, can you scratch my back? I'm like, fuck you, go scratch my back. Yeah. You know, because it's like we're competing with each other. We're fighting for the same wants, for the same needs, versus if he's out working and I'm sitting at home, taking care of the house and not doing shit, and he comes home and I'm so happy he's home, I'm like, yes, baby, let me scratch your back. Thank you, come here, you know, because there's a joy in taking care of someone because they've also taken care of you. It's like it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. I feel like there's generosity, right? And it doesn't have to be traditional gender roles, right? If it's the woman going out working, right, and the man's at home taking care of the kids, I bet that man is so stoked to take care of the kids, to keep the house clean, to do the laundry, because she's out there taking care of his needs in a completely different way. So it's not sharing the needs in an equal way. It's taking responsibility over the need and then taking complete ownership and doing it to the best of your ability. So I think that there's more incentive to do it the best that you can if you're not sharing that responsibility with someone.
It's you don't want to have the same responsibilities type of deal. It's just what good characteristics that I have that can help my partner and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? If that's your definition of like a modern woman, though, in my opinion, a lot of, I guess, like girls in, like, I love your definition of modern woman. And I was like, if those were the characteristics, I want it. Like that's dope.
Oh, you want that, yeah.
A very independent girl who like takes care of her shit. Who all the characteristics you just said. But like, I come from like a small town in the Central Valley of California, and a lot of my friends are married, have kids, all this stuff, and they always they want to have kids at 18, 19, 20, whatever, and they just want a man that takes care of them. They just want to be home with the kids, have their 3 dogs, you know, and that's their desire, you know, and I guess to them that is their definition of a modern woman, you know. So like, is it
interesting?
I feel like that it's depending like where you grow up. Like you said, like your definition might have come from your upbringing. Those, I guess you said, past whatever, and for them, this is what they were taught. This is what they believe is what a modern woman should be too.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that even what makes it modern is the fact that it's in modern times, not that it's a new idea of what a woman should be.
Okay, I guess we're talking about it differently in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm talking, the way I talk about modern woman is how it's evolved from the traditional roles of being a caretaker and a homemaker and all of that.
All right. Okay, yeah. I did not consume that.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. Before the 1950s, women couldn't go to school, they couldn't get jobs. I mean, not to the degree that we can now. So I can say all this, right, knowing that there have been women before me who have made that happen. So if I have a lot of traditional values, but to be honest, if I didn't have the opportunity to be a career-oriented, independent, successful woman, I may be like, fuck this traditional role. I don't want to stay at home with the kids. I don't want to be cleaning. I don't want to be cooking all your meals. Like, I mean, it's like, fuck that, right? Yeah. So I say all this knowing that I can have that opinion because I have both options. So. Yeah.
Which is a great privilege to have in this day and age.
Totally.
You know, the ability, like, hey, like, if I wanted to do that, I could. It's not like forced upon me.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, right? I say I could, but I think a lot of men now, because women have this modern perspective of getting jobs and having an education and doing all of this, I think a lot of men are expecting women to contribute.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, right? Don't kill me, y'all, for saying this, but
clue.
I do feel like there is some aspect of that of like, things are expensive now. It's more expensive to live. We need 2 incomes to support a household, which is valid. It does make sense.
Especially in LA.
But at the same time, especially in LA, yeah. But at the same time, as a woman, I think this is just my own fear, but what I've seen in my family is even like, for instance, with my mom, she's been married twice and she raised the kids and she worked and contributed half, if not more. And I always thought, right.
Your mom sounds like a boss.
My mom is a boss, for real. I don't know, she's done she's accomplished more in a short period of like time than I could ever in my entire lifetime. She's incredible. But the thing is, I'm like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship where not only am I paying half, I'm also taking care of kids. Because let's be real, in a lot of relationships, it's the women who take care of the children. It just is. Who take care of the house. It just is. And I'm like, that's valuable. Like, that's not to be undermined. And
full-time job, y'all.
Yeah, it is a full-time job, but I do feel like it becomes undervalued, and that women are just expected to do that.
Who says it's undervalued?
I from a lot of my married women friends. Yeah, but maybe it's not undervalued in all relationships, right? But I think it can be, and I think that's why sometimes it's like, okay, if you're already gonna do it, you might as well just do it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Versus like trying to be half earner, independent, and be homemaker. It's like, why spread yourself thin like that? Just do the thing, or go full into your career, hire a babysitter or whatever. But I mean, anything's possible. But I do feel like for the modern woman, there's a little bit of that dilemma, right? It's like career or family. Yeah. And it feels like you're giving up one or the other, no matter what direction you go in. There's
like a big societal, I don't know if it's like a crisis, but I read this article that says like, I don't know, with this digital age, digital dating, all these things, I think it's like around 50% of men aren't even like looking for a relationship. right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like crazy. And the amount of men and women who are having sex is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
And the amount of women who are having kids before 30 is at an all-time low, you know? And so like, it's like, where's the world going into? We have this social age where we have like these dating apps that are like said quote unquote connection, right? And we're having less sex, less babies, less relationships, you know? Like, how do you feel about all that?
I think it's sad.
It's super sad.
Yeah, I actually listened to another Esther Perel clip on Bill Maher, and I did a TikTok about it because she says we're in a loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
That all of these things that are supposedly supposed to connect us are making us just more lonely. And what's interesting is, so I've started live streaming, and a lot of mostly they're men who come onto my stream, and a lot of I like to talk about love and dating and relationships, and I'll try to like question of the day and this and that, but like they're not interested because they're not dating and because they're not talking to women and because they don't have experiences to draw on. And so when they do have opinions, it's super black and white because they haven't experienced the nuances of an actual relationship. They're like, if someone cheats on me, it's over. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that you'd be upset.
But you don't have the experience to do so.
And you don't know what it's actually like being in a relationship where there's been infidelity, and it's not always that black and white.
But we live in a world now, it's so weird that like women want men to talk to them, but men are afraid to talk to women.
Oh, you think?
I think so.
What makes you say that?
I think people are just afraid to get offended. I guess back to being a nice guy, not a good man. You know, like a lot of dudes out there are afraid to hurt like feelings or step on anyone's toes because of social media or all these things. And so like you see a nice like pretty girl at the bar, you're like, oh, like I would love to talk to her, and she's probably like, oh, I want him to talk to me. But the guy's thinking like, oh, she might have a boyfriend, like I don't want to offend her, she's with her friends, you know. And like I feel like that's a huge problem, and I think that's a reality.
And you think that comes from?
I think it comes from just like social media and like the news and like all these things that they're consuming from their phones.
Basically saying like, what are they like what information are they gathering that it's giving them the perspective that a woman doesn't want to be approached?
Well, it's also from the apps too, because you get a lot of guys who like will reach out right on a dating app or like Tinder, Bumble, like whatever, Instagram, and then you have a girl who just reads it.
Oh, and doesn't respond?
Right, and they might take that as like, oh, she doesn't want to talk to me, right? And then you translate that into the real world, right? And you're like, oh, like it's gonna be just like that Instagram.
So it hurts their confidence.
Yeah, you know. So we have a lot of nice men, a lot of nice guys out there, not good men.
You know what? I also feel like sometimes women can be a little bit more gracious too when men do approach them. Instead of being like, ew, I don't like him.
I think so. No, that's what I'm saying. I think I think they're more gracious than these men think they are.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
So. I mean, I would like to think so, right? I mean, I've also seen TikToks where women are being absolute bitches about, you know, guys that they went on a date with or someone checking them out at the gym. I'm like, no one's checking you out and no one cares. Like, for real, like if you're actually a hot girl, hot girls are used to getting approached, and you're actually nice to people who approach you because you're used to it. If you're not, you're probably a bitch and you need to check your ego. Like, yeah, I don't like that. Turn those
filters off, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, just be a nice person, right? So I think that goes to women too.
What inspired you to, I guess, like help people, I don't know, love? Help people date? Help people XYZ?
Yeah.
Because like you talk about these subjects, so you're very passionate about them, you know, like they excite you, like you're interested about it, you do your research on it.
I mean, honestly, it's like it starts from childhood, everything, right? And I think growing up, seeing my mom and my dad and their fucked up the relationship, and you know, they were young. They were like my mom was 19 when she met my dad. My dad was like what, 26 maybe, and they had she had a kid before 21, and I think about it and I'm like, damn, she was a baby, right? But that relationship was really terrible, like super toxic. And I remember thinking, first of all, when I'm a kid, I'm like, oh, I wish they would stay together, right? But like as I get older, I'm like, no, good thing you left his ass, type of thing. But I always thought to myself, like, once I started, so right out of college, I did a marriage counseling internship, and that's what really led me into this work of personal development. I had never experienced anything like this. And I saw firsthand marriages like that were completely in shambles, like couples that weren't talking to each other, hated each other, over the weeks mend their relationship. And that was like magic. It was like, how does this work? And then I think I thought to myself, like, maybe if my parents had had these skills back in the day, that they would have been able to work out their relationship. So I thought to myself, if I could teach these skills to people before they get married, before they have kids, then you could set yourself up to actually have healthy relationships that don't go to shit and then impact your whole family. You know, you could actually create loving relationships, but part of that is knowing what to do and knowing what to do before you have those kinds of responsibilities and commitments.
What are some of these skills that you learned during the I guess, marriage counseling internship that you like still take on today and still use today with your clients and just like your courses and everything like that?
I mean, oh my gosh, so many. I mean, active listening, right? It's like, I use this example all the time, but like, okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story. So
tell me a story.
So there's a husband and a wife.
Okay.
And they're laying in bed, and she just wakes up.
Okay.
Right, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I fucked up the story."
Rewind.
So there's a husband and a wife, and she's been working on this charity event for like months, right?
Yeah.
Like big production. She's so excited about it. She's like put a ton of work into it. So she wakes up on the morning of, and her husband are in bed, and then she like gets up really quickly. She's like, "Oh my God, honey, it's raining." And he's like, "Oh, baby, there's an umbrella in the closet." And she's like, "No, right? It's raining."
Yeah.
Right? And so like it's simple, but like what's she actually trying to say? The event.
Yeah.
But what does he hear?
It's just raining outside.
It's raining.
Yeah.
There's an umbrella, right? Solution.
Yeah. Solution.
Versus what's the intention? What's the meaning behind it?
Yeah.
So that's active listening, is what is the intention behind the words coming out of this woman's mouth or this man's mouth? So that's something that I try to teach people. I did a TikTok about beef, right? It went viral.
Yeah.
But that's basically what I'm doing. They're like, she's saying, the husband and wife are having a dialogue, and underneath I'm writing what they're actually saying. Right? She's saying something like, "Oh, I'm really, I have this feeling, and it just feels like I'm drowning. And you know, I feel like I've tried to tell you before," right? But all she's trying to say is, "I'm really fucking sad and you don't listen to me."
Yeah.
That's what she's trying to say, but
Sure.
she's not saying that, right? But like, that's what active listening is. It's like interpreting getting the understanding, the underlying meaning of what someone is saying.
Yeah. How does someone, I guess, like develop that skill of active listening? Because a lot of the time it's innocent.
Oh, totally. It is innocent.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of how misunderstandings happen and how fights happen.
Sure.
Most fights in marriages and relationships are over dumb shit. All of it.
So back to the active listening, how does someone develop that skill? Because like, it's not necessarily their fault because they just don't have that skill.
Yeah. So the question you always have to ask yourself is, what is important to this person? And that's it.
What is important to this person, and like you should just like understand like their values and like what they're doing and stuff like that, or what?
Well, you may not know like always, right? But that's what you're listening for.
Yeah.
So if the wife is getting up and she's like, "Oh my God," and she's frazzled, right? What is important to her is not necessarily the rain. What's important is what she's feeling, right? And she's feeling stressed or shocked, or she's clearly in distress, right? He doesn't even have to acknowledge the rain. All he has to do is say, like, "What's wrong?" Like, "What? Like, you look frazzled," or "What's right?" But he completely misses it and just goes off of the words.
So do you have any like drills or like activities or anything to like develop this?
I mean, usually it's real time. So like, if, for instance, if someone is texting someone, that's an easy way to do it, right? Like, if someone is like, I don't know, someone will send me a screenshot of a text and they're like, "Oh, like, hey, can you come to the movies with me?" Right? And the girl is like, "Oh, I'm busy. Yeah, I can't come this time, whatever." And then the next time they're like, "Hey, okay, so can you come to dinner with me?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, I have a family thing happening."
Sure.
Right? So, you know, the person who's asking her out may be like, "Oh, she's just busy."
Yeah.
Right? But when you say like, "Oh, what's important to her?" What's important to her is being anywhere but with you. That's what's important to her.
Yeah, I can see that. But why would she respond?
What do you mean? Why does she respond? Because she's not rude.
Yeah, but like you said, anywhere but with you. And if like it's not a relationship, like
I mean, okay, that's cruel, but she doesn't want to hang out with him.
Sure.
That's what she's trying to say. Yeah. I don't want to hang out with you.
Why don't people just say that?
You're asking me. I don't know. If they did, I wouldn't have a job. Like, trust me, people don't say what they mean all the time.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like, communication's such like a simple thing, but it's very complicated for a lot of people.
But sometimes, honestly, Nate, sometimes people don't even know what they want to say. Like sometimes I'll get in a coaching session and this person's like, I don't know what to do with this guy. We've been dating, kind of. I don't know if he's my boyfriend. I don't know if we're dating, but like, I don't know if I should stay with him. And I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly why you're confused, because you don't even know what you want, which means you don't know what you need to say. Yeah. You know, so that's usually a lot what it is. You don't even know what to say because you don't know what you want. Like for the girl who's saying I'm busy, she doesn't know that she doesn't want this person. She just knows she doesn't want to go to the movies.
Even though it's like not at the top of her head, like I just don't want to go with him. Like she just doesn't really know that to herself.
Honestly, maybe. Sometimes, Nate, I've been in situations in the past where men have asked me out, right? And I've just been like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. And then come the day of, I'm like, I don't want to fucking go. And then I'll cancel.
I have a lot of girlfriends who do that. I feel like that's so rude.
It is rude. It totally. But the fact of the matter is sometimes you think you want to go and you really don't. But you don't know until
a game time decision.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time this guy kept asking me out. Great on paper, Nate. Like, why don't I like this guy? I don't know. And I kept asking myself, why don't I like this guy? But I didn't. And then one time he goes, why don't you like me? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
That's awful.
I know.
Yeah, but that happens a lot. It happens a lot. Like I have a lot of girlfriends who like are all in these dating apps. She's like, yeah, I got a date tonight, but I don't know if I want to go. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, he seems nice, but I think I'm going to cancel on it. I'm like, why? like,
well, Nate, have you not been in that situation before? No. So maybe this is a girl thing.
It's intriguing. That's why I'm asking about it.
I'm literally shocked. I thought this was like a man and a boy thing. I mean, a man and a girl thing.
Man and a boy.
Man and a boy thing.
What do you call it? Do you ever feel like emotionally like taxed by like listening to everyone's problems? Because like I feel like that's just like a tough spot. Even when my friends tell me about their dating life, I'm just like, I'll be present for a little bit, I'll just like give my 2 cents, and then like I try to like move the conversation along, just because I'm like I'm usually in a good headspace like 99% of the time, you know. And like I like taking on like, because to be a good friend you have to be a good communicator as well. It's similar to like a relationship. You know, you have to have that balancing act as well. And I couldn't imagine like friends of mine, let alone like clients, just like letting out their heart and soul about their emotions to me on a daily basis from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
If I paid you, would you listen?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, I was going to say, it makes things a little easier. No, but I get some privileges that you maybe don't have as a best friend, right? I get to cut people off. I get to be like, I'm going to stop you there. And then I'm going to ask you some questions, right? I get to do some things. I get to say, okay, enough story. Tell me what it is that you really want to tell me. You know, I get to like, I get to navigate the conversation.
Sure.
And that's a privilege I get because they pay me to do that. Yeah. Whereas as a best friend, you don't really get that. I mean, maybe you do.
No,
but
I get that. I feel like it's not as transactional. Therefore, like you feel you don't have the right to do that.
Yeah, totally.
Versus like if you're in this like in a hierarchy position of like coach and student, right?
Yeah, I will say sometimes when a client, for instance, keeps making the same mistake, then I will. I mean, I'm human. Sometimes I'm just like, how many times have we gone over this? And then, you know, the next thing I have to ask is, what do you get out of this?
Yeah.
Because you keep doing it. What do you get out of it?
Yeah.
And that'll usually get to like the little core of what it is, right? Whether it's ego, whether it's just immaturity, right? Like usually I'm equating the two, right? But usually it's something with their ego. Yeah. Like if a guy keeps, you know, says he wants a long-term girlfriend and wants, you know, a modern woman and someone who's mature and whatever, right? But then he keeps chasing these like 22-year-old little photo selfie girls, like
you know
kind of girls I'm talking about.
Everyone knows what you're talking about.
you know, and he keeps chasing her. And I'm like, bro, how many times have we gone over this?
Yeah.
Right. But there's something that he still feels like he needs to prove to himself by going after that kind of girl. So then, you know, sometimes that's frustrating, but then I'm like, okay, that just tells me the work isn't done.
Right.
That means that there's something deeper we need to dig into. So yeah, I guess the frustration doesn't last because it's like, nah, it's pointing me in the right direction.
Why do you think so many people, I guess, like, relationships just don't last? Like, why do you think that even though, like, the divorce rate is so high and so many, like, people want to have that Cinderella fantasy of, like, happily ever after, when in reality, a lot of people don't have that?
Okay, so I think there's a couple things, right? Like, again, as someone who's never been married, I can't speak for everyone, but I think based off of things that I've read and I know, that I think a lot of people, the institution of marriage has changed. It's no longer a sharing of resources. It's not bound by like family and, you know, how many cows you have.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's based on love now. And love, as we know it, isn't a lifelong thing. Love is fleeting. So I think that there's that. I think there's also that we have more options, right? Or seemingly more options. So if you're in
more options just because of
seemingly more options, I say, because of social media and the internet, right? I think, like, you know, back in the day, if you get married, you may have like the 10 men who live in your 5-mile radius that you see at the coffee shop or whatever, your coworkers, whatever, fine. Maybe 50 men. Okay. Whereas now you got the fucking 500 men, the one that lives in London and the one in South Africa, and you got the guy in the, you know, your coworker and the coworker's cousin that you see on the Instagram, and the, you know, like, there's just all these people, and you're like, oh, well, they look good. Well, I could be with them, you know? And so I think that there's like the perception of having more options, more choice, right? But then when that happens, when you think you have more choice, you're less committed to the choice that you made. It's kind of like the In-N-Out effect, right? You go to Cheesecake Factory, you got like 50 fucking options, right? Because you have 50, you're like, you choose the, I don't know, chicken Cobb salad, and then you're like, damn, I should have picked the, you know, BLT. That looked really bomb over there. I should have picked that, right? Whereas you go to In-N-Out, you got three fucking options. You pick the cheeseburger. You're like, this is the best cheeseburger I've ever had. Why? Because you only had one cheeseburger. That's it. You only get one choice.
That's interesting. What do you call it? So you've been coaching all these people, and you went right after college to this marriage counseling place, and like obviously something stuck there that you're like, oh, like this is dope. Like maybe I could do this, right? And I guess what was the next steps after the marriage counseling that were like continued to like you want to make a career out of it?
Well,
because you were in the nightlife space as well too. You were in hospitality.
Oh yeah.
Like why didn't you stick with that? Like what? Oh. Tell me how you really feel.
Oh God, nightlife. No, it was fun while it lasted.
You still do events right now.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, that's by necessity. Yeah. If it had it my way, I wouldn't. Sure. But okay, so basically after marriage counseling, so the thing that I loved about marriage counseling, I'll answer your first question, was it wasn't therapists and it wasn't coaches. It was counseling. And it was...
What's the difference?
So therapy, right, goes into your childhood traumas, your past, relationship with your mother. Like sometimes they can diagnose, you have anxiety, you have PTSD, you have depression, right? Like it's usually like a deeper form of healing. I say healing, but it's like, you know, rewiring neural pathways. Like it's a really deep sort of work. It can be.
Sure.
Counseling, I don't know the official definition of counseling, but it's a little bit more like...
I guess what does counseling mean to you? If you were like to say like you're a marriage counselor, which like you're not technically, but like when you were doing like marriage counseling, like what's that one sentence like? This is what it is. Support.
Yeah. Whereas coaching is action oriented. Right. So those are the kind of the three differences. So in the marriage counseling, right, it was 12 weeks and they're supporting couples and learning new skills. Okay. And what was shocking to me was that it only took 12 weeks to get a marriage from absolute shit to like back to happy land. Yeah. I was like, that's it? 12 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. And it made me realize that, right, it doesn't necessarily have to be therapy to do this,
Sure.
right? It can be whatever it is. It doesn't have to be anything. It just, you just need people who believe in you and who are willing to teach you the skills and to support you and to encourage your growth and to encourage you to try it, even though it's scary. And I think sharing has a big part to do with it. Like sharing meaning, sharing your experience. So it was a group course. It was a nonprofit.
Okay.
So you got people from all different walks of life. And so you go home during the week, you try out the new skill or whatever, you come back the next week and you share with everyone.
I guess what's the craziest experience that you've had when you see, I guess from that marriage counseling experience where like how shitty was it? And then like how good was it by the end of the 12 weeks?
I mean, there was a guy who like cheated on, who had a full-on affair with his wife.
Yeah.
And they weren't talking.
Good after 12 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was like things that needed to happen after, but yeah, they were like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. And then eventually they came back and became speakers for like that particular section, and they would share what their experience was, because that work had helped them so much.
Yeah, and they lived through it, and that experience through the marriage counseling is like what got them there.
Yeah. And so the only real talk, Nate, the only reason I went into life coaching was because it was a certification that I could get without having to go back to school for 4 years. Yeah. and I liked that it was action oriented. Yeah. Right. So that's what got me into the coaching.
Coaching's action oriented?
Yes.
And therapy is not?
No. That's not really one of the I mean, I'm not a therapist. I don't want to speak for all therapists, but I do feel like whenever I've been in therapy, there's no accountability. Yeah. It's not like, so what happened, or did you do that? Right. It's more like, this is your learning. Like, even with my therapist, I'll be like, so what? Now what? She's like, just let the learning sit. I'm like, what do you mean let the learning sit? What do I do? Yeah. She's like, do nothing.
Really?
Yeah, because I get what she's trying to say. She's like, you just unblocked something. Yeah. Whatever you just unblocked, it's going to change your behavior naturally. So there's nothing to do, right? And maybe this is just my therapist, but I'm like, right, okay. Which is why I say coaching and therapy together is ideal, because once you've done all those unblockings or whatever, sometimes you need an adult babysitter. Yeah. And I feel like that's what a coach is. Yeah. A coach says, when are you going to call them? What are you going to say? What are you going to do if they get upset? What are you going to do if they try to leave the house? Yeah. Or what, how are you going to respond if they say this? Sure. Right. And then
it's like you kind of have like a roadmap to like your answers to solutions.
Yeah. It's prepping someone for how this is going to go with you being at the center of it. I teach responsibility and integrity as a huge part of my coaching. It's like, do what you say you're going to do. Right.
I feel like that's just a huge thing in life,
Oh yeah. So so going back to the date situation, like someone asking you on a date and then you're like, yes, and then you're like, fuck, I don't really want to go. Yeah. Right. One way so being in integrity would be just going on the date. Right. But if you're going to go on the date and you're going to be a total bitch because you don't want to be there, don't fucking go on the date. Yeah. Okay. Don't go. So to still be in integrity, what I would share with my clients is I'm like, you need to call them and you need to tell them that you're not going to go on this date, and you probably won't go on any future dates with them. Yeah.
So that they're ghosting's fucked up.
It is super fucked up. I know. But see, that to me is being in integrity, because you have permission to change your mind at any time. Sure. But you need to communicate that you've changed your mind, right? And you need to be brave enough and willing enough to answer any questions that the other person may have. You can't just run away from it. That's not being like a good person. A good person. Yeah. Exactly. So. Yeah. Anyway, so about that's also part of coaching, right? Therapy can be like, you just learned why you are toxic. Great. It was your mom and dad. Awesome. That's not going to stop you from being toxic in your relationships just because you know why.
You're just like, your understanding of like the reason why you feel certain ways.
Yeah. Sometimes people will come into my sessions and be like, but why do I feel this way? I'm like, does it matter? Yeah. We can go all day going down a rabbit hole of why, but the reality is this is what you do. Yeah. So you can either try to find out the why and then hopefully it changes the action, or you can just change the action. Yeah. And maybe it'll change your perspective on the why. Right? Yeah. It's either or.
What's your definition of love? Because I guess like a lot of people use that word, I love pizza. I love my grandma.
Oh.
I'm in love with my boyfriend, you know? And so, like...
You know what's funny? I was just listening to Music Soul Child on the way over here, and he has that song. It goes, love, so many people use your name in vain. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm like, I love pizza. Use your name in vain. Yeah. Damn, that song makes me cry. I love that song. But my definition of love, damn, Nate, why you gotta ask me the hard questions? What's your definition of love?
I think love is like more of an action, you know, like I can love pizza, right? And I love that pizza by eating it and like really enjoying and savoring it, you know, but like if it's romantically, you know, I feel like it's more of whatever that person defines, the definition of love. So like for me, it would be being there for someone. It would be knowing what their ideal relationship is and me meeting it in a way that is healthy for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a good definition.
Thanks.
As you were talking, I thought about my definition of love, and I think it's actually I always say that it's a choice, right? So love is a choice, but what is it the choice of? And it's the choice to it's the choice to constantly want to learn about the person you are with. Like, okay, an example of this would be like if I love cooking, right? The love of it could be the actual action, but I also think part of the love of it is the exploration, the constant growing and learning of this particular thing. So for love, I think of a person, it's kind of the same thing. It's like I am choosing to be with this person every day. I am choosing to learn about this person every day. I am choosing to be of service to this person every day. Yeah. Right? It's like whatever it is that you do with a thing that you choose to be committed to and to find joy in, that's what I think love is.
Yeah, because like it's hard to describe it because like you said, people fall in and out of love, and that's different than what you just said right now. And I think it's like a relationship thing. It's like the goal of a relationship is not to be in love all the time. If you define it by in and out, right? A goal of a relationship is to stay in a relationship. A goal of to be in shape is to be in shape for a long period of time. It's not to like get fat, then get back in shape, get fat and in shape. You know, these are infinite games, you know? And like the infinite game is just to be able to play the game, you know? And so like to be in a relationship, to have this like really good pairing of people, you know, is to stay in it. You know, it's an infinite game. It's similar with like working out, you know, so. Yeah,
you know, and I love that you bring this up because it comes full circle. But you asked me about marriage, right? And why people divorce and, you know, and don't stay together and how love is in and out. I think that's what marriage does, is it keeps a relationship together where love may not be present all the time. Like when love isn't present, it's too easy to be like, fuck this, I'm out, right? But when you're married, you're in a little box, both of you, and you are close together and forced to work out those differences, right? And love may not be present in those moments, right? But when you are able to work through whatever that is, I think love then can become present again, and it's a deeper love, or it's a different kind of love, or a stronger love, or whatever. But I think that is what marriage can be, and I think that is what marriage ultimately will lend itself to be if it's not purely based on resources. It's like the way I see marriage and love like are two different things. Like love is like I could love one person one day, I could maybe love another person another day, and that's just a fact, okay? But in a marriage, I am committed to this person, and this person that I loved at one point and I may not love right now, I like the pressure it will take in order to change me as a human and change that person as a human to then find love again is a change that I want to do. I want to go through that. I want to be with someone who's so committed to me through that to where we can find love again, that it's like I'm the evolution because of that relationship. But the only way that happens is when you have someone who's committed to you in that way. Because friends, they can go. Like other lovers, they can go. But a marriage, you know, or family has that same kind of strong pressure. It's like diamonds, you know, like the pressure is so strong, and then, you know, you create this beautiful thing.
Oh, it's just like growing pains, you know, like if you have a goal in life, you know, and you hit like a roadblock, you could choose to just like eliminate that goal.
Yeah,
or
totally.
you could decide to like work and get over that hump, and that's similar with a relationship. Yeah. What do you find beautiful about being in, like, I guess really happy and healthy relationship? Because like you've been in one for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, what was the question?
I said, what do you find like amazing or beneficial about like just being in a really happy, healthy like relationship, and you've been in one for a while?
What do I find beneficial?
Or like what do you gain from it? Like what do you enjoy about it?
I mean, I enjoy just being with him. I enjoy.
Not necessarily just for you. Like, what is the benefits of being in a relationship? Like, because we live in an age where a lot of people are just like, I'm just going to date around, or I'm never going to get married. Or
I see.
You know?
I see.
You know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, I do see what you're trying to get at. I think for me, like being in a relationship that feels safe and secure makes every other scary thing in my life seem just a little less scary. It feels like what feels good about being in a committed, like happy, healthy relationship is feeling like life is more enjoyable, and that
Why is it more enjoyable?
Well, just being able to share things with someone is more enjoyable, right? But I think the real value too, like mentally for me, is that knowing that even when times get tough, that you have a partner in it. And I think that that's what really feels good. It's like, this is what like why it's worth it. Because if he's having a shitty time, I can be there to pick him up. If I'm having a shitty time, he can be there to pick me up. And I feel like it's that partnership that really makes life better. Yeah.
I love that. What do you call it? I just find it so like friendships and relationships, like it says a lot of people, I forgot this like one study, it was saying that like one relationship you have to like it's give and take. Like if something comes into your life, something else has to go, right? So if that's like a hobby and you pick up something that takes up like another job, that hobby might have to go.
Yeah.
So if you get a relationship, like sometimes like two friendships have to go. You know, it's like a lot of time. But the benefit of it, it's like you said, you know someone so well that they're there with you for the good, the bad, the ugly, and like you get to share your wins and your losses, you know. And like there's this one, everyone, when something good happens to someone, what do you want to do? Tell someone.
Of course.
If something bad happens, what do you want to do? Tell someone. And back to that loneliness epidemic from Esther Perel is like, yo, when something good or bad happens to you and you're just sitting on the couch by yourself and you have no one to talk to, like that's a really, really shitty spot, regardless if it's a relationship or a friendship or a X, Y, and Z.
For sure.
Yeah. So I guess like, how do you solve that problem? Because all these apps are accessible and they're so easily dopamine accessible. You know, you're like, and so like, what's the answer in your opinion?
I mean, go outside.
Go
I know
outside.
that's terrible.
I know. Talk to people.
I know. I don't know if I have a solution because I don't think it's going anywhere. You know, like I think.
Do you think it's gonna get worse?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna get worse. I don't think technology is gonna go away. I don't think social media is gonna go away. I don't think dating apps are gonna go away. I know that there's like companies trying to circumnavigate the dating app scene, like, oh, put a pear in your Instagram bio.
Pear?
Yeah, you haven't seen this?
No. What is it?
So I guess
like a pear, like a fruit,
like the emoji.
Okay.
And that means that you are like open and willing and available to date. Yeah. Yeah. I've never actually seen it on anyone's profile. I just seen a post about it. But there's also like a company that's selling these like little rings. Where like you can like if you like they're like I think they're green, I forget, but like it's a ring, and it's like if you see someone out there wearing one of these rings, they're single, and they want, they're available to date.
Where do you get this list? Where can everyone find this list?
I just seen it on Instagram. I don't know. But see, this is my point. Like, this is so to what we were talking about earlier. People are afraid to approach people in public or just in general. Sure. So now it requires a ring, like a little sign that says, hi, I'm single. It's like, what's wrong with just talking to people, just meeting people, saying, hi, I'm Nate. Hi, I'm Fabiola. I saw you over there. I wanted to come say hi. Yeah. I feel like, what's wrong with that? It's like we've made it so pointed. Like, I have to ask that girl on a date. It's like, no, you can just go say hi and get a feel. Say what's up. Right? It doesn't have to be this thing. You don't need a pickup line. You're not picking her up. You're just saying hello. Right? But there's like, people are just afraid to talk to people in real life. You know how many times people don't even call on the phone? Do you still talk? You talk on the phone all the time. I love it because you call my boyfriend all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. So, like, for me, I don't text people, right? So, I'll look at, like, I texted you when you were here, but people know to call me. Yeah. And, like, I think I had 2,500 unread messages on my phone last week. And I just felt bad. So I finally went through all of them because, like, I sent a screenshot to a buddy of mine of just, like, something. And he's like, bro, how the fuck do you have 2,500 unread messages? I was like... So I pin all the important things, but like if people want to get in contact with me, it's calling. I feel like it's more personable, I just don't like texting.
Fair, but see, that's a dying skill, being able to pick up the phone and say hello.
I also think it's really important, a really good skill to articulate your thoughts in a way that is understandable through text message, though.
Yeah, because it's tone, it's like it's emotion in it. It's like you can explain yourself better sometimes in person. Like, I feel like there's just so many nuances that are missed through text.
Yeah. How are you so communicative, though, through text? Because, like, from all the understandings and me knowing you for a little bit now, it's like you're very punctual. You write everything out, all the events, like, all the event planning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everything is super communicative. Like, your notes of, like, people's birthdays and everything like that. Like, what made you that way? Because I feel like that's a very impressive and admirable skill that a lot of people should have.
Thank you. Honestly, I feel like it started. So talking about nightlife, it started with nightlife. Okay, because I used to do the VIP reservations for like Nice Guy, for Delilah wasn't open yet, but Nice Guy, and I used to do it for Catch, but they're not the same company. So I used to do that same thing, right? But mostly Hwood, they used to have a Rolodex of notes on all the biggest clients. And part of my job was to update their notes.
This Rolodex. Okay.
Exactly. Like, they like the corner table. They like this bottle of wine. This is what their favorite cocktail is, or this is the time that they like to come in on whatever night, right? Yeah. So if I get a call or an email from their assistant saying such and such client wants, this reservation. I mean, I'm working during the day, so I'm not there at night. So I'm putting in the reservation. And then at night, the hostess or whoever's there has all the notes.
All the notes.
And it's all about relationships. That's really what it is. Because when you can make a person feel special, they're yours.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah. Best feeling. They're like, wow, this person really cares about me. And whether it's with Hwood, it's for business reasons, right? But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's like you made this person feel special. So birthdays was the easiest thing that I used to do because it's the easiest way to make people feel special or like you thought of them. So if I heard a birthday, I would immediately put it into their contact because it's like, what you never know when you're going to need this person or when this person might need you. I can't tell you how many times someone's reached out to me just, hey, I have a friend who is going through something. Can you talk to them? Right. But the last message was happy birthday, because we're not close like that, but at least we have that line of communication that's open, even if it's once a year. And so that holds a lot of value. Also, sometimes it's just efficiency. Like Nate, when I was walking up here, guess what I added to your contact? Your address, your door code, your gate code. Why? Because I'm psycho. No.
No, it's a good skill to have, though.
Because the next time I come over, I don't want to, or if, whatever, I don't want to be like, hey, Nate, can you send me your door code again?
Can you send me your address again?
Can you send me your address again? It's like, no, I'm going to be literally at your front door before you know it, like knocking. You're like, bitch, how'd you get in here? No. But
well, because like that's a huge thing about like dating too. The amount of like, I guess I just hear about dates a lot through friends because I haven't been dating a lot, is like they'll show up to a date and like they'll just sit there for like 30-40 minutes and then like, hey, where are you at, this and that. It's like, not, the communication just starts off on a bad note.
Wait. You have friends who go on dates and their dates are 30-40 minutes late?
100% all the time.
Okay, Nate, you've been rattling off these questions to me, so I haven't had my time to ask you questions. Is it my time? Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Whatever you want.
Well, I want to finish this thought. What are your thoughts if you're on a date and a woman is running late?
Oh, I think I'm gone after 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Okay, do you text her?
No, if she doesn't text me, I'll text her. I'm like, hey, sorry, like it's already been like too late. Unless like there's gonna be like there's obviously like, if she is, I don't know, a 20 out of 10, like in all aspects of life.
No,
like I might give you like 15 or 20 minutes for sure.
If she's a 20 out of 10 out of life, you give her a pass? Fuck that.
You don't think so?
Hell no.
I don't know.
Hell, you know why?
Like
because the 20 out of 10 won't respect you because she will know that you're giving her a pass.
No, maybe you're not. I mean, like if it's a 20 out of 10 and like she got in a car accident and she just didn't tell me. And she's
that's different. I mean, that could be a 5 out of 10 and she got in a car accident and you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fucked up.
If you're a 20 out of 10, like you would respect my time, and by accident you might be late.
All right, I'm gonna let that one slide. Okay. So you're 10 minutes. All right. I always advise my clients 15. I'm like, okay. If she's 15 minutes and hasn't texted, you get to text her and be like, what's your ETA? Mm-hmm. If she says, oh, I'm running late, I'll be there in 30, 45 minutes, you can choose, right? But if she starts running into the 30, 45 minutes and like hasn't let you know, you had to text her, you were waiting for, she says 5 more minutes and she's another 15, you have every right to be like, hey, it's been a while, this isn't work for me, you know, I wish you the best, you know, you gotta be an asshole about it, but like, wish you the best isn't for me. Yeah. Right.
Well, I'm a whole believer of like, you are your standards, right? Yeah. So like, you look at anyone's body, right? That's their standard. Like, you know, like if I'm 50 pounds overweight, it's because I can stand to be 50 pounds overweight. Yeah. If your girlfriend, your significant other is your standard, you know, it's like, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend who's late all the time. I have a boyfriend who's not really good at his work and is lazy all the time. That's your standard. Yeah, you know, you are your standards, you know, and like if you raise those standards for yourself, you will attract those people who have those standards.
Totally.
So if you're 15 minutes late, right, and like someone else is just waiting on you, there's a chance that you could apologize. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm never late. This will never happen again. Like, there's stuff like that. Like,
but what stops this person from just calling you and being like, yo, I'm running behind. My bad. Be there in 15.
Again, like, life happens. You can get in a car accident, all this and that.
Dude, if I get in a car accident, I'm not going on a date.
Exactly. I'm not going to go. And therefore, like, maybe you reach out to them 30 minutes later and they're pissed off and, like, you can communicate it.
All right. Let's go back to the 20 out of 10. So, what constitutes a 20 out of 10?
20 out of 10.
What is a 20?
I was definitely exaggerating that, but like, if a 10, are you just talking about like a 10 out of 10?
Well, okay. What would a little better than a 10? Like, what would a 20 out of 10 have?
A 20 out of 10? I mean, you're basically just like winning in all aspects of life, you know? If that means like you have really good friends, you have a really good family, you got a really good job that you enjoy doing. Not necessarily monetary wise, but if you enjoy it and it's paying for everything, you have really good hobbies. Yeah, that's a 20 out of 10.
Okay.
You could communicate properly and have good conversation.
How does it feel to be with a 20 out of 10?
How does it feel to be a 20 out of 10? I mean, like, if you're confident in yourself, you should be so happy to be with a 20 out of 10 because you could learn from them and get all those, you could learn from their really good aspects in each aspect of their life. You know, if they have really good friends and you hang out with her and her friends and you see that relationship, you're like, okay, that's a standard that I need to have for my friendships. For her job, it's like, oh, if this girl loves her job, she's making a ton of money, and like you see the way she's living and you're like, wow, like I want to be passionate about my job like that. you know, you're like, oh, sick. Okay, now I know my standard. So that's a 20 out of 10.
Does a 20 out of 10 scratch your back?
Probably not, just because like I don't really care for a back rub.
What do you care for?
Basically all the things I just said. Like people who just like a relationship to me is just like an exaggerated version of like a really good friendship, but with like relationship stuff.
But what are some things that like your partner does for you that your friends don't do? Besides sex, obviously, but like...
I think that's really it.
Really? No back scratches? No like little foot rubs?
No, I'm very weird like that. Like a lot of people ask me questions. Like you asked me this the other day. Me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, right? And I was like, yo, I really would like to be friends with her because we started off as friends. And I just think relationships should be an exaggerated version of a friendship. And that's a very hot take. A lot of people don't believe that.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I got my opinions about that. But what I'm more curious about is what does it mean to be nurtured in a relationship?
Nurtured? Like feeding each other? What do you mean by nurtured?
Yeah, whatever, right? It's like, to me, like scratching someone's back,
I think
rubbing
it's like
their
what
feet,
we talked about.
nurtured.
I think it's what we talked about earlier. I mean, like, so a lot of people have standards for their relationship, and if you want to make the relationship work, you got to know what they need and want, and then you fill those in a healthy way.
Yeah, so for you...
For me, it's just what I said. Like, I'm very independent. Like, if you got good friends and good family that I want to be around, if you have good hobbies that I like, if you have those things, we're great. That's really it. Simple man.
Okay.
Oh, well, I hear some judgment, Fab. What?
I'm trying to get to the meat of it, but I feel like,
That is
Nate,
the meat of it. I think so.
the way you've described to me is like a picture perfect person on paper, but not necessarily a person. You're not describing the relationship. You're describing the person, which I know I may have asked you what the person, but like what I'm trying to get at is like, what is it about this person that gets you going? Because let me put it this way. You can have a person, right, who's a 20 out of 10. And this is what a lot of my clients say, right? I want a man who's ambitious. I want him to drive a nice car. And I want him to be tall, dark, and handsome and have a nice body and be sweet and have rich friends and, you know, whatever, right? And I'm like, great, that's a 20 out of 10.
Yeah.
But how does he treat you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like those are just given.
Right? But here's my point, right? Is like the 20 out of 10 may not scratch your back, and you may not need that, right? You may not. But I feel like there are aspects to a relationship that you also need that are nurturing the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, like if you just talk about communication, similar likes, sexual attractiveness, like these are all like, I feel like that's just given and should be given in a relationship. No?
Yeah. So you just
what are you trying to get at?
Friends on steroids. Friends on steroids.
I think that's it. Like at the end of the day, like my definition of happiness is doing what I want to do when I want to do it with the people who I want to do it with. And like if you have like one person who you want to do a lot of things with, who is very communicative and likes the things that you want to do, like I think that's a perfect scenario.
Yeah.
You know, and like if it contrasts in some way, like I want to do something and they don't want to do it, and like you don't have the same hobbies, even though you might like the person, or you guys have different visions of like your life and you guys don't have the same values in certain things, then sad, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So what's the most important thing that you look for in a woman?
In a woman?
Uh-huh.
I think it's just communication and like sexual attractiveness and ambition. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I'm very simple.
What if you really like this girl and then you called her and she never would call you back? She would only text you back. Would that be a deal breaker?
What do you mean? Oh,
like,
text me back?
Yeah, like if she didn't like talking on the phone.
I would just keep calling.
Yeah. And you force her to talk on the phone to you?
Yeah, yeah, probably. I mean, if she was like, I just can't talk, I might text, but like, I feel like that's my standard of relationship.
Yeah.
And like, if it doesn't meet my standard, then regardless if you're a 20 out of 10, it doesn't meet the relationship.
Yeah.
You know? Do you have standards for your relationship?
I mean, for sure. Standards. I mean, obviously, talking on the phone. Like, I mean, Chaz and I had to FaceTime when we first started dating.
Yeah,
so
your guys' relationship in the beginning was so funny because I was on the opposite of it. Like, you guys were
like, what was that like?
Worlds. Well, he was talking about you. He's like, yo, like, I'm dating this girl who's in New York, kind of, but I don't know what it is. Like, I'm going to go fly over it. I'm like, what? I was like, okay, have fun, dude. Because like we were working out all the time, and like I just knew you as like an old friend who you guys are liking each other at the time. And I was like, that's interesting, bro. Like, have fun.
Yeah.
And then like he was like, we made it official. I was like, from all the way over there? He's like, it's okay. She's moving back. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to be in a long distance relationship, so it was kind of
Do you think long distance relationships are like ever healthy or can work for a prolonged period of time?
I think they can. Yeah, I think you have to be committed to the goal, the end goal, like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Sure.
Like this is when we're going to be together, and you know that. I think for sure. But if it like starts off long distance and there's no real plan, I feel like it can work. I mean, speaking from personal experience, it has worked, but that's only because it was a relationship that was surfacey to begin with. So it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't.
Because I see a couple, like, especially military, I have a lot of military buddies.
Yeah.
Those, like, work, they end up, like, just coming home, having kids, going back out. And I have, like, a couple friends who were dating in high school, and they're the perfect, like, I met in high school, I found my true love, and I'm just like, wow, that's dope. I cannot relate. But
No. Actually, Nate, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, because I don't know if I've answered this for myself, okay? But, like, when do you know? When do you know what? To, like, settle down.
Settle down. I think whenever you feel like you're ready to. I mean, that's hard. That's, I guess, like a simple question, a simple answer to a complicated question. But for me, it's going to be when I feel that I've accomplished enough in my personal life that a settled down relationship won't get in the way of that, because I love me more than I love someone else, you know, and a lot of people love someone else more than they love themselves.
Well, yeah. What does that mean? I love me more than I love someone else. Like, how does that play out in the relationship?
I mean, it's kind of a selfish thing. Like I believe that you go through this lifetime with you and you alone, and like even if you're sleeping with someone in the same bed, you still go to bed by yourself. You know, you still have your own thoughts, you still have your own processes, and like if the relationship is getting in the way of you living your own life, regardless of how good it is, then I don't think you should settle down yet.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm asking because I don't even know if I know the answer.
No, I think that's a hard question just because like it's different for everybody. Like I've witnessed a lot of friends get married early and have kids.
Yeah.
And I've also witnessed a lot of friends die at a young age. And I was just like, I kind of want to live out their potential, you know, because like they didn't get to do it for themselves, you know. And at the end of the day, you get one at bat. You get one at bat, and like when you decide to settle down, that's on your own terms.
Yeah.
And you posted all of this stuff about just like the percentages of like marriages, right?
Oh yeah.
You did like before the age of like 20.
Yeah.
The percentage is like 60%. Before the age of 30, I think it was like 40, and then by the age of like 40 when you're getting married, it's like down to 20%. 8%. Something like that, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, that was interesting, right? Yeah. But like from a biological standpoint, and like if you want to have kids and all these things, it gets all complicated.
It's like opposite. Yeah. It's like totally
opposite. But like, we live in a world where like you could freeze eggs now. You live in a world where people die older now, you know? But that's just a whole different thing.
But okay, so then do you think, I mean, I guess you answered my question, but the other question that I like to ask is it the person or is it the time in your life when you settle down?
I don't know.
Yeah. I always heard that for women, it's the person, and for men, it's the time in their life.
Why do you think it's so different answers for men and women? Because like you've answered that at certain times, like back to like the 50 Shades of Grey and the visualization of like porn and everything. Yeah. You're like, women like it in their ears and guys like it on a screen. That sounded weird, guys. Like
in their ears.
In their ear holes. I like it in their ear holes, guys. Audio straight down the ear hole.
Oh my god. Porn straight down the ear canal. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's actually true for for men and women. I've only heard this. But I think it's, I would like to think it's mostly time for women, but I could see, I don't know, because sometimes I wonder, I'm like, do women just settle down when they're like ready to have babies, and that has nothing to do with the person or where they are, you know, in their career or financially or anything. And it's just like,
it's a tough spot because like a lot of people project like what they did in their life, right? So like for usually family members, they'd be like, oh, like you have to do it by 22, and it's because like, yo, you did it at 22, bro.
Yeah,
but then,
yeah.
Like you see a lot of people who've done it like older, and like it works great.
Yeah.
It's like I have like my own superheroes, right? And the superheroes are the people that I admire, and like those people who I admire are different people, or have different characteristics than the family who you grew up with. Because like for the longest time, like maybe until you're 5 or 20 or whatever it is, like the only people you have to like go off of is your parents and your family. And so like even if it's until the age of 4 or 5, like you think your dad's a superhero and these are the things that he did, right? Or your mom.
Yeah.
And then like you grow up and you're 25 years old and living in New York, and like you're living your own life experiences. You're like, yo, that is not correct. You know? And like especially if you go to a different country, like I was just in Japan, right? And they live their life totally differently than like they live here, you know? They don't have trash cans, they don't have tattoos, like everything's super respectful, they bow down, like there's so many people in the world and so many different cultures that how do you know what is right? Because the right and wrong at different places are different. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And back to the relationship for coaching, it must be the hardest job to basically decide or tell someone like what kind of is better or more right than like what they're doing, because like how is it wrong?
Oh, it's not. No,
It just is.
It just is. Yeah. As your friend, I have different opinions. You know, as your coach, I can't. You know, it's all about what the client wants, and there is no right or wrong. It's just
Are most of your clients from LA area?
At the moment, yes, but I've had clients from like New York and New Zealand and Spain and the Bay Area. I've had quite a few clients from the Bay Area. It kind of depends on where I get one client, and then they kind of spread. Yeah.
I feel like dating in do you believe, I guess, dating in big cities is like way different than anywhere else?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
How
yeah.
so?
I mean, I think going back to what we were talking about, like social media and the perception of choice.
Yeah.
I also think that career plays a huge role in it. Like, if you are, if you're just working just to pay for your rent, you know, you're probably not spending as much time like going out there and dating, much less dropping hundreds of dollars on like a date every time.
Yeah.
I feel like there's that. I also do think that in big cities, you don't have the same kind of pressure to settle down and get into relationships. So I think it perpetuates singleness because it's also okay to be single. So it's okay to want big careers. It's also okay to be single. It's also okay to be unmarried. It's also okay to be divorced. So I feel like you're just exposed to so many other things that like, it's all kind of fair game in a big city.
Yeah. Like there's so many different ways of living out here that you're so open-minded as to, especially like the gay culture out here is wild too.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I have a lot of gay friends, and like the way they live their life is just like wild sometimes. I'm just like, yo, there's this totally different world of like, I don't know what type of culture you would call it, but I'm just like, I couldn't imagine living like that. Like that is not how I would choose to, just because like it's kind of crazy. Like I have these two friends. I think you met them, Doug and.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, so these old gay guys who like love to be experimental and like live their life, and they're very successful in their careers.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yo, that's dope.
It's super dope. Wait, I have more questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, if this podcast gets too long, you can cut it down.
No, don't cut it down. I love it.
How do you feel about open relationships?
Open relationships?
Yeah.
I think if you're a big fan of Esther Perel, she talks about them.
Yeah, she does.
Too. And I just, back to the right and wrong, for so long, like I guess I wouldn't even question if it was right or possible, because I grew up in like a very conservative Catholic household, and just like, oh, that's not what you do. That's incorrect. So if you asked me up until like 4 years ago, I'd probably say that. Now I'm gonna be like, I feel like anyone should do whatever they want to do. Like, but the downside is the emotional stuff. Like, so people get jealous.
Yeah.
Right? People get jealous that really comes down to that. And
Yeah.
you don't want to hurt people's feelings, you know? And so, like, I've had plenty of friends in open relationships, you know, and that's when they usually don't work, when the jealousy comes in. But I know a couple of people who, they work great.
Okay. I agree. I have actually not yet seen in my personal network of people an open relationship that works.
I know a couple.
But no, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, no judgment. It's more like, would you ever consider that for yourself?
I don't know. I don't think I'm a jealous person anymore. I think I've grown a lot in the last 5 years. But I think I would have to try to find out. And I don't know if I'm willing to try.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like if it's working, why, or if it's not broke, why would fix it? You know, with that whole saying, like regular relationships has worked great for me for a long time. I mean, sure. I mean, like I could try it, but like it might end up biting me in the ass.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
guess what you're saying is you'd have to have a need for it. Need to try it. Yeah.
I mean, like if I was trying to be a hoe for a prolonged period of time, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Fair
But
enough.
the reason why I like relationships is so many dudes, especially in LA, or I guess maybe girls too. You could tell me if girls do this. Like you're a girl, and like if so many dudes, including myself, like if you're not in a relationship, you're spending a lot of time trying to chase tail.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, that's a waste of time in my opinion. I'm like, I have goals and things I want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Why am I spending like 2-3 hours a day swiping right or like trying to go to a bar and talk to a girl when I got shit that I want to accomplish in my life? You know? And so like the best way to like do that is to get in a relationship to someone who supports you, has the same likes and activities and all that stuff. And it's easy. You know? Like, why make it complicated?
I mean, you say it so simply, Nate.
I mean, these are just things. So like I've thought about them for a very long time and they're just truths to me.
Yeah.
Like I have the answers to what I believe is true and what I believe is right and the best working answer for me. And like a lot of people don't have that, you know? And that's why I'm so curious to talk to you about like all these things about dating and everything like that, because my answers are boring. A lot of my answers are boring because
Boring. No, they're not.
well, they are because like they're so confident when I say them because I already thought through my processes of them. But I don't have all the thought processes that other people have. Like back to the open relationship, I've thought about it for like months. And I would just like, I'll get high, write down like a whole journal about open relationships and why I don't think I could do it, you know? And so therefore I come to my conclusion and that's just my answer. That's my truth.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that in order to be a good answer, it has to be spicy. I think your answers are well thought out. They're helpful. Okay, fair enough.
What do you love most about being a relationship coach?
I mean, also a boring answer. I just like seeing people get what they want in life out of relationships, and again with zero judgment. Like I just had a client today who, when she hired me, it was like, I want to find a husband. Like I want to find like the love of my life. Da da da. And I'm like, great, got it. Let's do it. Today, she's like, so I've never had a one night stand. And I'm like, oh, is that something you want? She's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, would you like to explore that? She's like, I think I would. Yeah. So we've now pivoted.
Yeah.
And now our goal is to get her laid on a one night stand.
Shouts out. I hope you get it, whoever you are.
yeah, me too. But I guess my point is that like that's what I love most is like whatever the client wants.
I feel like the no judgment part's huge because like I feel like a lot of dating coaches are projecting what like they believe is right versus like what the client wants.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't worked with that many dating coaches to be honest, but I think as a coach you're trained to be unbiased.
Sure.
I try, doesn't mean I don't have judgments. I just can't vocalize them. It's not my, my place. But yeah, I think that's kind of part of the fun thing that I like about coaching is like, there's something kind of cool being on their team, regardless of how taboo it may sound. It's like, okay, if everyone talks shit, it's okay. I got you. You can text me. You can call me. I got you. You know, and that like that trust that you build with someone because someone knows that you have their back, even if they do something that's seemingly fucked up or not kosher or whatever. It's just like, whatever, I'm here for it. Let's go. You know, and obviously while trying to instill integrity and communication, like if you want to have a one night stand, have a one night stand, but then don't be messy. Don't be sloppy. You know, clean your shit up, have good communication, and put it in a tight little bow after, you know. Walk away. Don't let any like tails hang. Like just keep it clean.
Any tails hang. Yeah. It fucks people up when it gets like messy.
Yeah.
And like I guess like one of the lowest points in my life, I think, when I was a super insecure young man, was like when this girl I really liked like ghosted me. You know? And I've only got ghosted this one time, so it's the only time I like. But the feeling that I had was like just like really shitty, and which I shouldn't have felt that way, you know. But like a lot of people who like guess shoot their shot are not confident humans when they get rejected, and that confidence, I mean that lack of confidence gets lower than it already is, and to build yourself out of that hole takes a lot of work, you know. And so like back to your dating coaching, when I couldn't imagine like trying to like talk through like and help these people like get out of it, because for me it was just from reading, from working out, from like doing a lot of self-help, and like a lot of people just like sulk in it, you know.
Yeah, I mean there's a variety of ways you can get yourself out of it. I think the point is to get yourself out of it. I think sometimes it's okay also to sulk in it, you know, because sometimes people are like, I feel sad, I feel this, I'm upset, I haven't gotten over this breakup, I want to get out of it. And I'm like, sure, you do, right? You say you do. But also, if you're talking to me and you're going to therapy and you're reading and you're still not out of it, I don't think you want to get out of it. So just stay in it for a little bit longer. Trust me, you'll get sick of your own shit. You'll get out of it. It's fine.
I always like to say this is, I think so. I was looking at your post before. I was doing my homework on you before we came, and you said dating is not a numbers game, right? And I slightly disagree, because
Ooh, tell me.
There's so many fucking people in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And like when like there's billions of people, and like I'm like, yo, you have to find 1 out of 8 billion people to like you. It's not that hard. It's not. Like you could just keep going on dates until you find one.
Yeah, you have to like them too.
Yeah.
Vice versa. I forget what I wrote in that post. What did I write in that post?
I trying to remember what you said. I did agree with the concepts that you said. I believe it was like, if you're not getting along with all these dates from like swiping, it's like you have more work to do on yourself than the actual numbers of dating. Right. Oh, right. Which I do agree 100%. But like, if I believe if you are confident in who you are and you like the characteristics that you have as a human being, then you just got to go on more dates until you find the right person. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yes, I also agree with what you're saying. Yeah. And it maybe slightly conflicts with what I said, but I have two varying opinions about this. Okay. So you can be toxic as fuck. You can be a terrible, uncommunicative, terrible, cheating, lying whore of a person, and you will still find someone to love you. Okay? Numbers game. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Okay. There is someone for everyone out there. I firmly believe that. That's what I say. There's so many people out there. Firmly believe that. Okay. And if you are someone, I remember now this post. I wrote it off of someone I had a consultation with. Okay. If you're also someone who lacks a lot of skills and you're toxic and you're uncommunicative and it's going to be a big numbers game. If that's your goal. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking for a 10, but you yourself are a 2. I'm sorry. No numbers game. I mean, you're going to have a long road. You know what I mean? Like help yourself, you know, make your dating situation a little better. Especially if you want to date someone who's like above you. So I forgot what study I read too. It's like a lot of people, your friends or you date like parallel, right? So like if you're a 2, you're gonna date a 2. If you're a 5, you're gonna date a 5. And you're a 10, you're gonna date a 10. And that's why the world gets shocked when you see a 10 date a 3. You know, it's like, why are they like that? Hey, they might be happy and healthy and all this stuff and they like their relationship, but like objectively, you're just like, what? That doesn't make sense. Are you basing it off of looks though? I don't know what you would. I guess you would have to define like what you would scale the scale to be. Yeah. I guess with this particular person, it was someone who
was so with social skills based on my interaction. Okay. So I can't speak to, are we going hella long?
No, you're good.
Okay. I can't speak to how he is. I said it was a he. Okay. I can't speak to how he is with other people. But the fact that he was so confident in telling me that he doesn't have problems talking to women. He doesn't have any problems taking them and having fun dates. He doesn't have any problems with, money or taking them out or treating them well. And I'm like, then what's your problem?
Yeah.
Then how come you can't get dates? How come you can't get women? You're telling me all the things that you think you are, but I'm telling you whatever you think you have, you lack. Because if you didn't lack it, you wouldn't be talking to me.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of denial, right? And someone who's really a 3 thinks they're a 10, trying to go for a 10, and then is mad that they're not getting a 10, and then they think I'm supposed to be here telling them that, oh no, you're a 10.
Yeah, it's a super interesting concept. There's this, I don't know what quote it is, but basically the concept is, you're not who you think you are. You're not who they think you are. You are who you think they think you are.
Wait. Whoa. Okay.
You're not who you think you are.
Okay.
You're not who they think you are. You are who you think they think you are.
Ah.
Because
yes.
you're perceiving like what you think other people perceive you as.
Yes.
And so even though they might not be thinking about you at all or perceiving you that way at all.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you just said by this person.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah. Listen, I wanted to help him. Okay. Let's just put that out there. I was like, if you feel like you got to tell me, then that means you don't believe that I think you are this.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't believe that I think you are a 10, then you don't think you're a 10.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, I'm honest, I'm confident. I'm like, are you though? Because you just had to tell me you're confident.
I know.
You just had to tell me you're honest.
Yeah.
Like if you're an honest person, like you just are, you won't need to reiterate that to me.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. But I feel like with something so specific as talking to a dating coach about your love life, like what I want to know is like, what are your struggles? I mean, that's in step 1.
Yeah.
You're coming to me so I can help you. I can't help you if you're not vulnerable.
Sure.
Like truthfully vulnerable.
Yeah.
If you're trying to prove me wrong, I'm like, think about what it is when you're trying to go impress a woman.
100%.
You're trying to impress me right now. And I'm like, I'm not here to be impressed.
I'm trying to help you, bro.
I'm trying to help you. Exactly.
What makes you different than any other dating coach out there? What makes you someone that if someone's struggling with a relationship that they should talk to you and not anyone else? Damn,
Nate, I'm going to keep it real. That's why.
You keep it real?
Yeah, with my clients. And sometimes I get off the phone and I'm like, man, I was a little mean. But other times I'm like, you know what? No, they needed to hear that shit.
Sure.
Because then I'll get a text after and they're like, thanks, Fab. And I'm like, you're welcome. But no, I think I've highly invested in my clients. Sometimes I think even too much. And I say too much because I think as a coach, you're trained to be unemotional. You're trained to be unbiased.
Sure.
Like you're supposed to be a mirror. But I care about my clients and I really want them to succeed. So I'm not maybe as much of a clean slate, I would say, as like a therapist because I'm invested. Yeah. But I think that investment is what gets people their results. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm going to tell you when you're making the same mistake over and over again. Yeah. And I'm going to ask you the hard questions, and you may not like it, but I think that that's what makes me a good coach. Whether it makes me better than others, I'm not sure, but I think that's what makes me a good coach. Yeah, as well as being available. Like I take great pride in
being available from 7 a.m. to
9 a.m. to 7.
She's like, I'm not waking up at 7
no. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't mean like you can call me anytime I'm going to pick up. Yeah. It's not like that. But if you hit me up and I see your text, I'm going to respond and I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to call you at 2, or whatever. Yeah. But I think that's something I also take pride in because, Nate, I mean, you've been in a relationship. It's like when things go wrong with your partner, you don't have time to wait 3-4 days until your next coaching session or therapy session. You're like, no, I need to talk to someone right now. No. whether it's at 6 a.m, whether it's at midnight, like even if they don't answer, like just knowing you have someone there that you can talk to is, I think, helpful.
Who is unbiased from friendship or family? This is really important.
Oh, yeah. Who is, yeah. I was like, who in my life is unbiased? I'm like, no one.
No, you're the unbiased person.
I'm the unbiased.
That was my point.
Yeah, no, I can't call my mom. My mom will be talking shit. I'm like, why did I call you?
Yeah, I was like, you're the person that they need. What do you call it? What are you most excited for in your life right now?
Honestly, this new rebrand. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been dying for a new rebrand.
It's gonna be like hotlinefab.com.
Yes, it is. You know what's funny, Nate, is like, you know when people get drunk and they like buy new outfits online or they like order pizza at like 3 a.m., you know, I buy domain names. Okay, so for the longest time.
That.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that for you.
Thank you. So for the longest time.
They're not that expensive, guys, if you want to do it.
No, it's like 99 cents on GoDaddy for like the first 3 years.
Yeah.
So I like, my website is onthehotline.com, and I knew that at some point I was going to want to change it to Hotline Fab. So I like went on GoDaddy and it was like, you know, commission or like buy it off of someone or use a broker.
Yeah, it was
taken. He was taken, yeah. And it was like, you know, buy it for $70,000. I'm like, 70,000? Like, fucking kidding me? Yeah. Like, I'm not doing that. Who the fuck has my name, right? And so this is a year. I'm like pissed off about this. I keep going on and checking. Yeah. It's still, you know, 69, 99,000, whatever. And I was like, this is some bullshit. I'm going to change a different name. So what I didn't realize was that I had 2 GoDaddy accounts. So I call GoDaddy and I'm like, hey, you know, so I guess I have 2 passwords. I have 2 accounts. Can you just merge them? She's like, oh, yeah, okay. So she merges them. I go on my account. I fucking own Hotline Fab. This whole time. I was like, motherfucker. Also?
Really?
Good job. Yeah.
Wait, why? Who put up the price? 69,000, whatever. Then?
It's whoever the GoDaddy broker is.
Oh.
Yeah. So I had it on a GoDaddy account that I guess that I don't use.
Okay.
Like it's just there, right? And I have a separate GoDaddy account where my like, you know, on the hotline domain name is.
Usually you have to put a price for that. So.
I don't set the price. Whoever GoDaddy sets the price. I didn't. Yeah.
But like, how could they set the price if you owned it?
I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how this works.
So like I had inspiritbitters.com, right? Sorry, I had the web. I had the Instagram, and then I was building the website, and this guy like bought the domain names for my business partner. All are basically tags, and I was like, okay, we're done. We should have got the website, and so we had to change the name to Inspirit Bitters Co. on like everything, and then we waited 2 years, and then the website just expired. Like he didn't renew it.
Oh shit!
And then we bought it, but like he had it up for like $1,000, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy that for $1,000. But like that's why we had to rebrand a little bit at the end. It's because like that people make a living doing that.
But I don't think it. I think it's just whoever the GoDaddy broker is just made that price. I don't think it's the owner.
No, the owner did. Like he reached out.
He reached out. Oh.
No, like I hit him up. I was like, "Can you lower it down?" And he was like, "No, I bought it." Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And people make a living off of it. People make a living.
Yeah, I knew that, but I guess. Trust me, I did not set the price for that. I mean, good job, broker, for doing that, but that was not me. Because for a whole year, I thought someone just owned it. Yeah. Until I found out it was me. But anyway, I own a bunch of random domain names, so maybe I'll sell a few.
So you were so excited about...
Oh, yeah. So I'm so excited about my rebrand. It's going to be Hotline Fab at some point.
What's going to be different about it than, I guess, the brand before?
Honestly, just focused on the dating course. That's really it. Like, I'm really excited to have a focus because even though I still will coach people in relationships or people who want to have a one-night stand, you know, whatever they want, I think there's something really freeing about just knowing that I'm selling one product. Okay. And I'm like, right. I don't have to try to sell myself in 10 ways. Yeah,
before we get to, like, I guess what people can get out of this course, how do you coach someone to, like, get a one-night stand? I'm just curious. I want to know the process for it.
I mean, we're going to
like, say I'm your client, right? And I'm like, Fab, like, I've never had a one-night stand. Like, and I just want one so bad. Like, what would you tell me? Well,
before we get into the one-night stand part, it would be like, what are your fears around it? You know, like with this particular client, she says that when she goes out, like men will approach her, and she like doesn't want them to approach her, you know. And then and I was like, do you like attention from men? And she's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so what isn't, like, how do you enjoy men's attention, right? Because it wouldn't just be the one night stand. It would be everything leading up to it. You know, it's a little bit like, what is your perspective on male attention, the male gaze, right? Yeah. Like, what do you get out of it? It's basically, what I gathered from our conversation today, it's basically going to teach her how to be a little bit selfish, because she's been selfless in all these relationships, very generous, very giving. And I'm like, the whole purpose of a one night stand is to be selfish. Ask for whatever you want. I told her some stories about mine, and I was like, shit, I asked for everything that I wanted. I ordered that expensive ass meal. You know, I got the big suite. You know what I mean? Because why not? Like, I'm not seeing this person ever again. Like, I know what I told her was like, you can be someone else. You don't have to be the person you are. You're whoever the fuck you want to be that night. I said, and that's the fun part of it. But you have to experience sex and romance and all of that as pleasure, but a selfish pleasure.
Is that what they call pussy power? Is that what they call?
Is it? I don't know. Shit. Probably.
I think so.
I mean,
that's dope though. You could be. That's like good advice though. Like the thing is, like when people go out, and I feel like they have all these like views of themselves, right? They just think that's who they are. When in reality, like, yo, if you go out, no one knows you. You could be whoever the fuck you want to be.
Yeah. This could be a normal thing for you. They don't have to know this is your first one night stand ever. Sure. Like, you can even like in the bedroom, you can literally do things you've never tried before, because it's like, first of all, A, this person doesn't know you. B, you're probably never going to see them again. Like, fuck it. Do the backflip.
Just read 50 Shades of Grey. You'll be good.
Okay, so step 1 in our course today, we're gonna read chapter 10. No,
how to do a backflip.
In bed. I think that's gonna be the approach for her particular needs, right? It's how to be a selfish lover in the context of a one night stand while still having integrity, good communication, honesty, respect, you know, because I don't think one night stands have to be disrespectful. I don't think they have to lead to ghosting. It's an agreement. It's like an understanding that this is just what it is, and you make the most of it for however long you're with that person.
Yeah. Also, if you want one, I think that there's a ton of. I'll give you an example. So I was bartending. I think it was on Friday, and there's this guy. He showed up pretty drunk around like 5 p.m. And he bought a drink for almost every girl at the bar, and I'm pretty sure he was just trying to get laid. And he stayed until midnight. And the last girl he talked to, like, was like digging it.
Oh God.
And she went home with him. And it took 7 hours, but like back to the numbers game, bro. I was like, yo.
You know what? He put in work.
He also spent,
Okay.
I think he spent over, I think, like $2,000 buying drinks and food for probably 15 girls.
Oh my God. Okay. Going back to our numbers game, Nate, of course,
but
you can spend.
Woke up the next day and was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, or he's used to it. My point being that he can spend 7 hours, $2,000, 15 girls later, and actually win, or he can just find a better approach.
Yeah.
Take half the time, half the money, and have a better success rate. That's all I'm saying.
You're like, bro, hit me up.
Yeah, for real. Although I'm not in the art of pickup. That's not. How do you pick up a girl?
I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever done it.
Really?
I don't think I've actively went to a bar and just like, I'm gonna go pick up girls today.
Okay, so I can see that. I feel like you're an attractive guy. You don't really have to do that. I feel like women probably gravitate towards you.
I just like talking to people. That's really it.
Okay, so you're friendly, you talk to people, that's your move.
Yeah, I feel like it's been intimidating for so long. Like, I feel like I was an insecure dude for so long. And I don't think I told this to anybody really, but when I was like 18 or 19, you know who Neil Strauss is?
Yeah.
So he wrote the book The Game, right?
I read it.
It's a good book.
Chaz recommended it.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Oh, honestly, that could be why me and Chaz, we met at a squat rack, right? And we became like really good friends. And it started off because like we read a lot of the same books, and I think that was like one of them. I don't remember. I think that's funny. It. But I read that, and it was more like a self-help book than anything in terms of just like grooming yourself, like like be more knowledgeable, like understand people, be someone who someone wants to talk to. Like that's really it. But back to the thing is like the substance part, like I need to get up and train clients at 7 a.m. Like I'm not trying to try my hardest and like actively pick up a girl.
Yeah.
And like I feel like confidence is a big thing with girls and guys too. It's like if you know your worth, like, and if someone's not buying it, all right.
Yeah.
Bye.
You know, it's interesting because I've known you now for maybe close to 2 years, and you've always struck me as a very confident guy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So I guess I'm curious, like what
The switch?
Yeah.
Oof. I think it's like a lot of books, but the thing is you get confident by doing, right? So like I don't know, so I had really long hair for a long time and I didn't groom myself properly, and like I started getting like haircuts and facials and sort of working out a lot, and for the longest time you feel still insecure, but then you get complimented on almost every day by people, and I'm just like, I'm faking the world, bro. I was like, this isn't real. And then like after like 30 days of like some person saying something good about you, you're like, whoa, this might be true. You know, so like that's the whole thing about like outwork your self-doubt. Like with the podcast too, like this is gonna be like the 82nd episode.
Dang.
Right? And after the 5th one, I'm just like, no one's gonna listen to this. But then you do it every single day for a long enough period of time, and I'm in 55 different countries right now, and like all this stuff, which is dope.
Congrats.
And like, so I might feel insecure about like putting out a podcast and like, oh, no one's going to listen to it. But you put in the work, and the day after day, if you do the work long enough, it's like a relationship or how you feel, like the results speak for itself.
Yeah.
You know? So like that, I think that's the switch, you know, just like if you feel so insecure about yourself or in any aspect of your life, all you got to do is do it more often, and the longer you do it, the better you get at it. And if you get better at something, you get good. If you do something good for a long time, you get great. If you do something long enough being great at it, you'll become undeniable, you know? And people are going to want to work with that. So, yeah.
So what would be your advice to young men out there who maybe might feel a little self-conscious and don't feel comfortable approaching women? Like, what would be your...
I feel like the biggest thing is like, would you want to ask yourself that if you were a girl? If the answer is no, change it.
Do you guys know what girls want?
If I were a girl, I would want a dude who's fit. I would want a dude who has a good job.
Okay. I laugh at this because I think all the guys at the gym think that they're getting buff for girls, but they're only getting buff for each other. There's a lot. Yes, 100%. Dude, I can't tell you. Me personally, Nate, I love a dad bod.
You love a dad bod?
I'm all about a dad.
Really?
Yes, because it signals other things.
What does this signal? Please tell me.
Comfortability.
What do you mean
a
comfortability?
good lifestyle. I mean, I'm not saying you can be a slob. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I like men that are strong.
Okay.
But if you're like,
I'm not talking about shredding or anything.
I'm like, you don't gotta have a 6-pack. Like, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, if you have a 6-pack, I'm a little bit like, did you eat chicken and broccoli today for lunch? Because I'm not about that. You know, I'm like, I want someone to enjoy life a little bit, and I
Sure.
think that sometimes when you have, I mean, a dad bod, you know, it's like you have other priorities in your life than looking hot. Your priorities are maybe your family, or maybe your career, maybe, you know, your wife, or
I think
whatever.
that's a cop out.
That really? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
So when you see a dad bod, you're just like, wow, this guy is so into his family. He is so focused on his career.
No. But I think it does signal. It signals comfort. I think for me it does.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, for instance, if you maybe
Okay,
I don't want to speak for you, but
you gotta define comfort though. Is comfort on the couch smoking weed with a bag of potato
no.
chips?
When I think of comfort,
that's what I think when I see a dad bod sometimes.
No. Oh, okay. So we have different perceptions of it.
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like, the comfortability, like, cool, but like, comfortability could be like on the couch, or it could be like doing other things that are meaningful in your life.
Oh no, I feel like dad bod to me is like I'm comfortable in Italy eating pasta and drinking wine. That's what I think of dad
Smoking
bod.
a cigarette in Italy too.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I think of dad bod. I'm like, yes.
I feel like most people in
Give
Italy
me all
don't
the
got
wine
dad
and the
bod
pasta.
that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know what though, Nate? Maybe I'm jaded because like growing up in LA, there are so many attractive people in this city, men included, like nice bodies, good faces, good hair, you know, and they're all shredded and they all are broke. And they all are fuckboys and they all work. And I'm just like,
who you calling out?
No one. No, but for real, I just feel like sometimes there's like a negative connotation with looking too hot. I'm like, why are you so hot though? Like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And usually there is.
So you're saying don't look too hot for the guys out here. That's
Yeah. Just be normal hot, okay? Not like
Yo, you're fucking a lot of people's brains up right now. Because most guys are like, I'm going to look good. I'm going to do all this. And Fab's like, yo, like, you're looking good for each other, not for girls, bro.
I mean, I don't want to speak for all women, but I feel like that's not as much a priority to us. Like, men are more self-conscious about their bodies than women actually care.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I was at a Laker game, right? I went to a Laker game probably like a month ago. I sat next to these two USC girls. And they kept like wanting to talk to me. And I was high out of my mind. I think I took like a 20 milligram Red Bull. And I was with my buddy. And they kept wanting to talk to me. I'm like, fuck, okay, I'll talk to them. They're like, what do you do? How old are you? And I'm like, 26. And they were like, I thought you were like 21 and in like some frat. I forgot the name. And I was like, okay. She was like, yeah, I'm just totally into frat boys. I'm like, I'm not one of those. Thanks. And I was like, all right, I gotta like get more of a dad bod.
You know what? Thank you, because the dad bod would have been sitting courtside. You know what I mean?
A dad bod would also be in a frat though.
Wait, no, you know what? I think of like guys like that. I think of USC guys. That's what I think of. Frat boys, like super in shape, super arrogant, just like no shade if you went to USC. I know we have friends that went there, but that's exactly what I think of when I think of frat boys who are like that. I'm just like, ugh.
What do you find most attractive to, I guess, like for you? Or what do you think girls find most attractive in LA?
I can't. I mean,
what about you? Okay, you.
What do I find most attractive?
Yeah, so if like just characteristics, like top three characteristics in a man.
I like bald men.
Okay. I knew that one.
I like men who are strong.
Okay.
Right? Not shredded, not like I mean, whatever. You can have a nice body, but like I think more importantly is like I want you to be strong. Like that's attractive to me.
Strong like physically?
Yeah, okay. Physically. And that's why I think like the dad bod is like sure, yeah. Or like beat someone up. Like sorry, like my boyfriend needs to fight. Like, you know.
Honestly, like I was talking about it, I think it was me. I was hanging out with me, Kev, Kuba, and Chaz, obviously. And I was like, yo, if anyone tried to fuck with us, like, it would be bad news.
Why? Because no one fights?
No, bad news for the other person.
Oh, I thought you meant for you. I was like, really? No.
No.
Duh. All you guys are like super strong.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Also, like, Jazz told me some stories, and I was like, bro, like, if I ever get in a fight, I want you right there.
What stories?
We'll get into that after.
Okay, all right. Okay, and then the last thing I'll say, what I look for is, I'm trying to think of like one word for this, but stability, responsibility, like I'm not sure what you call that, but what I really like, and I mean, I'll just say it about Chaz because that's what I'm thinking of, but I really like how responsible he is. Sure. Like there's something really comforting about that, like safe about that. Like I would much rather have someone who's smart with his money or his resources or just how he lives his life versus someone who's flashy or someone who's trying to like impress me, for instance. Like that's a huge turnoff for me is like someone like using material things to impress me.
Why do you think so many girls are turned on by the material and money and all that stuff?
Because they think that what's behind it is the security and the stability, but it's usually not that. Like what was funny is Chaz and I were walking down the street and he was like, do you ever think about just accidentally stepping behind a G-Wagon as it's backing up?
Wait, stepping on what?
Stepping behind a G-Wagon. I was just backing up. And I was like, no. I was like, because I was like, I'm smart enough to know that the person driving the G-Wagon maybe doesn't have as much money. I was like, I'm going to step behind a Volvo. That's what I'm stepping behind. They got a 401k. They got a Roth IRA. I was like, person with the Volvo's where it's at.
That's actually like pretty accurate though.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. So for me, I'm like, I'm really attracted to just someone who's mindful and smart about all of that. And maybe because I haven't been that way. So maybe I also like what you were talking about, your 20 out of 10, right? Someone who can inspire you in a lot of ways. I do feel like, you know, Chaz has a lot of things that I don't have, and I like that. But yeah, I would say those are the three things that I'm definitely attracted to.
I'm sharing him with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you're like his other girlfriend. I'm like, shit.
If you had any advice to, I guess, like any girl or guy out there who like is trying to like date, who's just like super, I guess, insecure in the dating world, and I guess like they're trying to find love or whatever they want romantically, like where do they start? Because like I feel like there's no roadmap for it. You don't teach it in school. Like there's no really like step-by-step plan unless you sign up at hotlinefab.com. Yes,
which do it. Sign up for my course. You will not regret it. Also, Chaz made me put a 3-day money-back guarantee, so
if it doesn't work,
so you're Gucci.
You're Gucci.
You know what? I'll say I want to give practical advice, okay? And I'm going to speak from personal experience. The thing that has really helped me in all my relationships is never overstepping my feelings. Like,
what do you mean?
Yeah. So always speaking up when something bothers me. I mean, it can also be when something makes you happy, but especially when something bothers me. I don't know. I feel like men have this too. Actually, I think it actually applies to both men and women. But we have a tendency to, or a lot of people have a tendency to hold things in when something bothers them or when something just slightly rubbed them the wrong way. And you think, oh, I'll just let that go. Or, oh, that's not a big deal. Right. But then the thing is, it comes up again and it comes up again. And then, you know, by the time you're like fucking irritated at that thing, right. Versus it could have just been something that was addressed right away. So for me, I feel like if you're dating, say it right away. If you're in a relationship, just say it right away. And what
do you mean if you're dating or in a relationship, say it right away? Like,
okay, I'll give you an example. So I had a client and she went on a date with this guy. And she bought the movie tickets. She picked him up. She literally did all the work. She planned the date. Okay. And when they get to the parking structure, she like is getting her credit card out to like, you know, pay for the parking, and it falls in between the seats. So she's like fumbling, trying to get it, all of this and that. Not once did homeboy offer his credit card. Not once. And so she's like, finally gets her credit card, pays for it, whatever. And then they drive off and she's like annoyed, right? Like she's like mad, but she doesn't say anything, which is fine.
But so you're saying she didn't define it as a date or anything like that?
No, that doesn't matter. The point was that she lets him go. He gets out of the car, and then obviously we're having our session, and she's telling me about it, and I'm like, well, what stopped you from asking him for his credit card? And she's like, oh, well, I didn't know I could do that. And I'm like, what the fuck you want? Ask him for his credit card. And then I'm like, how come you didn't say something?
But was it a date?
Doesn't matter. What if you was a friend?
Is it a friend?
Sure, we'll say it's a friend.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you could just ask, hey, you down to split it? Or
yeah. She obviously has contributed far more to this outing. Okay? I think and she was struggling to get her card. Like, it literally fell through the seat.
At least you could do, hey, man.
Like, oh, here, let me get it.
Let me get it.
Yeah, okay. So she could have asked. She also had the second opportunity to say something when he got out of the car. She still didn't. She also waited 3 days in between when that date happened and we had our session. And now she's telling me about it. And I'm like, how come you didn't say anything after? Oh, because it's already too late. It's already too past. It's fine. I don't say anything, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, but now you're resentful. And now you never want to hang out with him again when it could have been an easy fix. Right? And I feel like those little things happen in dating all the time. Like one person does something that doesn't even, like I don't even think this guy's fucked up or anything. He probably just wasn't thinking, or he didn't even know, or whatever. Like, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. He didn't do anything wrong. But she now holds it against him because she didn't say anything. And she still hasn't said anything. So what was her homework? Call his ass and tell him. Right? So I guess that's the advice, right? If you can say something at any point, even if it's later on, just say something.
Yeah.
Hey, 3 days ago when we were in the parking structure, right? Don't be mad about it, but like we're in the parking structure. I really would have appreciated if you had offered your credit card. Yeah. And I know that I didn't ask you, but you know, just next time moving forward, like I would really appreciate if you could contribute or offer to contribute, you know, that way he has the opportunity to get better. Yeah. Versus just being like, that guy's fucked up.
Yeah, because I feel like in relationships for most people, if you hold everything in, it just can blow up in your face at the end of the day.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then the next time something like that's happened, what's going to come out? You're a cheap ass. You never pay for nothing. You didn't even pay for my parking, right? Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's the advice, right? Like, always say what is on your mind.
Regardless of like... always tell the truth, but don't lie. Oh, what's it called? I don't know. Something along those lines. I mean,
I'm hesitant to say always say what's on your mind because sometimes we think things and I'm like, nah, you should keep that to yourself. Mm-hmm. But I think when it's something that bothers you, like in an interaction or something that upsets you, that's what I meant by don't overstep your own feelings. Like if something bothers you, you have every right to vocalize it. Yeah. Sometimes people think they don't have the right to feel that way. Like let's say, Nate, you're dating someone, right? And you're not official, right? And you went out with some other girl, right? But this chick is like upset now because you went out with some other girl. She's going to be like, well, I'm pissed, but I guess we're not together. So I guess I can't say anything. But then the next time you see her, she's being all salty. Yeah. Right?
So and you didn't define like the boundaries, or what are you talking about?
Well, I'm just saying that like she didn't
articulate
because she doesn't feel that she has the right to. And I'm saying it doesn't matter. Is you don't have to have a title to say how you feel. You're literally suppressing your own feelings. If regardless of what the title is, your feelings are valid. So if you tell this person that you're just casually seeing, hey, I was really upset or I was really bummed that you went out with that other chick, even though I know we're not together, that really bummed me out. If you want to keep seeing me, you can't be going out with other bitches. No.
That's true though. No, that's accurate.
Right? Yeah. And then you're actually having an authentic relationship.
Love that.
Anyway, that was my long ass answer. Sorry.
Sweet. All right. Well, where can everyone find you, Miss Fabiola?
On Instagram, Hotline Fab. On TikTok, Hotline Fab. And if you're hearing this in like 3 months, then at hotlinefab.com.
Hotlinefab.com. It's gonna be 3 months from now.
Yeah, like June. Yeah, so maybe like a month or two. Yeah, I don't know when this podcast is coming out.
Yeah, it'll be out in like a month or two. Okay. There. All right, guys, go check her out. Any last thoughts for the people?
Nate, you are awesome. You are a great interviewer. No, thank you for having me. Yeah. The cocktails are bomb. Definitely check out the other episodes of the Nate Biltz Podcast.
Go check out Chaz Whitworth.
Go check out Chaz Whitworth. And if you have any single lady friends out there, send them Nate's way.
Or Fab's way. We're gonna end it there.
Or my way first, and then I'll send them to you when they've been all fixed up for you.
There you go. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again one.
Thank you.
Miss Fabiola. Bye.
Bye.